Special meeting of the Putnam County Legislature called by the clerk at the request of Chairwoman. This is May 19th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislator Young.
Yes, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the legislative prayer, and I call on Legislator Russo to lead us, please.
Thank you, Chairwoman. We gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. All right. Roll call, please.
District 1, Legislator Montgomery.
Present.
District 2, Legislator Goulman.
Present.
District 3, Legislator Ednisian.
Present.
District 4, Legislator Russo.
Present.
District 5, Legislator Ellman.
Here.
District 6, Legislator Yonke.
Present.
District 7, Legislator Birmingham.
Here.
District 9, Legislator Crowley.
Present.
District 8, Chairwoman Sage.
Present. Okay, so this evening, tonight, we have on the agenda item number 4. This is an approval sent down from the Senate and Assembly for a home rule request, requesting the New York State Legislature enact Senate Bill 7540A and Assembly Bill A8080A.
Madam Chair, as a point of order, as we all know, my firm represents 3 of the municipalities in Putnam County, which would be affected by this. I'm a partner of that firm, so I'm going to, as I have in the past, recuse myself from any discussion or certainly voting on this, and also I'm going to be stepping out of the room while this is discussed. I kindly ask maybe Ed to come get me after this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Birmingham. Okay. We'll start with discussion. Does anyone have anything they wanted to discuss on this home rule request?
Well, sure.
Legislator Montgomery.
I've had a lot. I mean, I'd like to see if we see if we've gotten anywhere, if we've moved the needle at all. This is an important vote for us tonight. As you can see, there's a lot of public interest. There's a lot of interest from all of our towns and villages who voted unanimously asking us to support this. I did, as you all did, a lot of work on this, a lot of research went into it. I actually made a statement, so I might as well just read it now. Colleagues, this resolution before us tonight is not just about tax policy. It's whether we choose to lead with clarity, responsibility, and respect for the process and for the people we serve. This was not my original proposal. I want to be clear on that. Earlier this year, I supported a different approach. But after 5 months of listening and reading, I realized that governing, well, after many years, I know that governing isn't about holding rigidly to one idea. It's about adapting and listening and moving forward in the best interest of our residents. That's why I'm ready to support this resolution and the companion state legislation A8080A and S7540A. We've seen bipartisan support not only at this table, but across every level of government regarding this. Every town and village in Putnam County has passed a resolution in favor of this. Our state delegation, Republicans and Democrats alike, have come together to sponsor this legislation. They're asking us to complete the final step and pass the necessary home rule resolution so they can act before the end of their session, which is June 13th, I believe. They need this, I think our note said by May 26th. So this really isn't about just this year. We've created a lot of uncertainty in the past 5 months for our towns and villages, for our own departments and the people we represent. But through it all, I haven't heard a single constituent ask us to lower the sales tax. What I have heard loud and clear is stop the back and forth, stop the chaos, and work together. So this isn't just about this single year. This is a result of decades of effort, actually. While I appreciate the county executive, town supervisors, and the mayors reached a compromise, the credit belongs to more than just a few current office holders. We stand on the shoulders of community leaders like Jeff Michelson, Eliza Starbuck, who came before this legislature years ago, Jason Angel, Annette Prentice, Phillipstown Town Board Supervisor Richard Shea, and I passed, and along with Supervisor Van Tassel now, passed a resolution in 2013 asking for this. And many on this legislature actually worked toward this, past and present. So tonight, if the controversy is about the conflict with the county executive or the meeting that the county executive had with the towns and villages, and yeah, you know, I wasn't included, that doesn't sit well with me either. And in the resolution, it lays credit just there. So if that's a problem, let's change it. We can change that last paragraph to read, whereas the revenue sharing provision represents a historic effort by elected officials and community members on every level of government working together in the best interest of Putnam County, because whether we're for this or not, we've all done a lot of work on it. So I hope we can pass this with the unity of our constituents and the unity that they deserve, and we can move forward with clear, consistent voices and keep the sales tax where it is, extend the 1%, not out of fear, but out of responsibility. I have a lot more, but I won't go on. You get my message. I hope that we can come together, because unanimously across the board, the state level, our state delegates unanimously, our county and village, town and village representatives have asked for this, and I'm happy to support it.
Thank you. Any other legislators? Legislator Crowley.
I just want to say that I'm thankful that we're all here tonight to give this another chance, and I'm thankful for our state delegation and all the supervisors and highway superintendents and everybody who's come together as a bipartisan movement to make this happen. It's really going to be a good sense of relief if we can get it passed for our towns and for our residents, and I would be happy to see it passed this evening. And thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other legislators? Legislator Yonke.
Yes. I've been opposed to the extension of the full 1% because we don't need the money. We don't need the money. We can still share with the towns if that were the original intent. I have the letter here dated January 16th from the county executive about the sales tax extension, and his request, and I'm going to read it. Please let this memorandum serve as the administration's request that the legislature consider renewing and extending the county's long-standing practice of collecting an additional 1% to the county sales tax rate, which is set to expire on November 30th, 2025. While this provision enables Putnam County to collect 4% instead of 3%, an additional 1% on individual purchases, it is worth noting that it accounts for 25% of all sales tax collected. For example, if not extended in 2023, a year in which Putnam County collected more than $88 million in sales tax, that 1% represented approximately $22 million. In recent years, in part due to sales tax collections received with the existing rate, Putnam County has been able to cut its property tax levy and lower its property tax rate substantially, while also making sales tax fairer and less regressive through opting into an exemption on clothing and footwear under $110. All of these accomplishments would be jeopardized if Putnam County failed to extend its existing rate. If not extended, the revenue lost to Putnam County would also jeopardize the delivery of critical public services and massively interfere with needed capital investments approved by the legislature and executive in the county's 6-year capital plan. Then he goes on to respectfully request that we take advantage of this. I disagree in that if not extended, the revenue loss would jeopardize the delivery of critical public services and massively interfere with the capital investments that were improved. That money's already been set aside. We don't need additional sales tax revenue to pay for those projects. The other thing is, the other accomplishments, we've lowered the sales tax on clothing and footwear under $110. That would not be jeopardized by reducing the sales tax by a quarter of a point, whatever it would be, a quarter of a point or more or less. After this letter came out, some of the legislators came out with the idea of reducing the sales tax. And the reaction from the county executive was to get the town supervisors and mayors together and call on them, and I don't blame any of them. If the county executive's handing out money, you should ask for it. But it was tax relief that matters. And it was translating it into the property tax. Now, the only beneficiaries, or the largest beneficiaries of a property tax reduction, number one is the city of New York. The city of New York is our largest taxpayer. And right down the list, it's utilities, it's municipalities, the state of New York. They would be our biggest beneficiaries, and the resident that we're all concerned about. And I've heard everybody talk about the residents. And that's I believe who we're here for. Their benefit on $1 million property tax levy reduction, on average, would be about $25. Now, I've heard people come to our meetings and talk about a sales tax benefit of $25 and you might be able to buy a pizza. But that's for every citizen. That's not for the one property owner, the one person who owns a property in the household. If you had a husband, wife, and 3 kids, that's $25 for 5 people. I just think that we could do both, and this alternative plan was a reaction to this legislature, or some of the members of this legislature coming up with a good idea. And that's sad. That's sad, because I still think if we work together, we could cut the sales tax, we could cut the property tax. Once again, the property tax is something that any cut, and I was the biggest advocate. It was my idea to cut the $500,000 in 2023 in the 2024 budget and the 2025 budget. It was my idea, but you didn't see any. None of us saw any real impact with $500,000 over in each of 2 years. I just think that we could do more. And when we have an opportunity like we have in front of us today, we should take advantage of it and show the public that we're serious about cutting their taxes. We have a fund balance today that sits at $90 million, unassigned fund balance. The total fund balance is about $140 million. So the difference accounts for the money that we can pay for those infrastructure projects that were mentioned in the county executive's letter. So we have $90 million just sitting there that could go back to towns. I'm not objecting for money to go back to towns. But the first thing we need to do is stop taking the money from the taxpayers. And that's where and by the way, nobody since I challenged about a month ago, somebody to explain to me how vetoing a sales tax cut is good for the taxpayers. Nobody's been able to explain that one for me. So thank you.
Any other legislators? We'll try to go around one more time, and then we'll.
Sure, I didn't see any other hands up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Legislator Evans?
Yep, thank you. Thank you. As we all know, the county executive's recent proposal to share the 1/9 of the 1% sales tax was never formally presented to the county legislature for approval, as Legislator Montgomery had just mentioned. It was discussed privately with the town supervisors, mayors, our assemblyman, and state senator. The proposed bill is now submitted to Albany awaiting approval. And as we all know, this is why we are here tonight, because this is under home rule. These measures require a formal approval from the county legislature. I had recently proposed allocating $5 million per year for 2 years, which would equal $10 million from the county's $90 million fund balance to the 9 municipalities using the same population-based formula. This proposal would have more than doubled the financial benefit to our communities, but it would have been vetoed by our county executive. This is why it didn't move forward. I believe, though, if we can absolutely afford to share the 1% sales tax and also return, as Legislator Yonke mentioned, we should be able and should return $5 million to the taxpayers in a meaningful way, however that initiative moves forward. But I believe that should be a priority moving forward, to share the $5 million that is in the $90 million fund balance to the taxpayers. Thank you.
Any other legislators wish to? Legislator Elner.
I agree with my colleague, Legislator Montgomery. We've gotten here. I don't like the way we've gotten here. I've been saying all along, these are two mutually exclusive, two issues that don't need to be handled together, and that's what I don't like. I was with Legislator Adnisio, and I agree about giving $5 million to the towns, and that was for 2 years. But it seems that the towns don't want this. So we have this before us. I also agree with both legislatures. Sorry guys, tongue-tied here. Yonke and Adnisio, we could reduce the sales tax, and we could, in addition, reduce the property tax. But I have a suspicion that this is going to pass. I also frankly don't like the way this was handled, because instead of really arguing it out in the legislature, in the public, it was shoved on us by going around the legislature and going to Albany. And I have a question, if I can, for the attorney. Can we separate the question?
No, in this particular case, we're pretty much stuck in the form that it comes from the state. If you didn't want to approve it in this form, you would have to vote on it. If it doesn't pass, you can request to your representatives that they modify it by separating it. With the time being what it is, it's not guaranteed they'll be able to get to it by the deadline.
Thank you.
Any other legislators? Legislator Russo.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I just want to say again that I do support this initiative. Out in the public, talking to people every day, nobody has ever told me that they didn't want to pay sales tax or that rate. And it's funny because I had to pay a bill right before I came here, and it was a nominal fee. So I'd rather have the 4% and try to cut taxes through the county property taxes. So thank you, Chairwoman.
Any other legislators?
I have a comment if I,
Legislator.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I've spoken on this topic several times over the last 5 months. Tonight, this vote is the vote that really counts, and it's going to be the last vote, whether it's share sales tax, keep it at what it is, or deduct it 1%. We have a choice to keep the sales tax the same and to set up a system where the county will share a portion of the sales tax with the towns and villages moving forward. Not just this year, but every year moving forward. To be exclusively used for local infrastructure projects, capital improvements. This option will provide continual financial stability to the county and to the municipalities. The other option we have is to vote no, which will lower the amount of money which will come into the county for the next few years. This option puts the county in a downward spiral, which could put the county in a negative financial situation in the next few years. This option will cost the county approximately $20 million per year for the next few years. It's a lot of money, and we should not lose this. Because of these two options, I'll be voting yes to keep 1%.
Thank you, Legislator Goldman. We have been discussing sales tax extension for months now. And now we're down to the wire. I've always supported extending the sales tax, but felt the county could lower the burden for taxpayers by 0.25%. The legislature voted to lower sales tax by 0.25%, which would have put $5 million back into the pockets of those who pay it. However, this was vetoed by the county executive, leading to the historic compromise that extends the full 1% and shares 1/9 of 1% with the towns, which I was not invited to a meeting to discuss that with the towns. I received a memo, but there was no meeting. The county already provides $35 million in shared services out of the $80 million sales tax revenue to the towns, including Board of Elections, community college, emergency services, making the towns whole and the school districts whole. $35 million out of that $80 million. I believe the issues of sales tax extension and sharing with the towns should be kept separate, should have been kept separate, and that was my call all along from the very beginning. No one said no to the towns, we just wanted to keep it separate. Once we decide on the sales tax extension, we could have then been discussing sharing funds with our towns and villages in a public meeting in Putnam County, in this room, and not in Albany. Currently, we're pitting the towns against the taxpayers. The towns consistently request more money. But these are two distinct issues that should be voted on separately. We can lower the sales tax for the taxpayers, though the county executive will probably veto that again. We can also share funds with the towns. And there are multiple plans that we could consider, or that we have considered, including sharing the undesignated fund balance. While the towns may receive some form of sharing plan at this point, I'm sure, it's the taxpayer who gets no sales tax relief. The taxpayer is left out of this historic compromise. I was elected to serve the taxpayer, and they deserve a break. I'm not in favor of losing the sales tax extension, never have been. But I felt we could let the taxpayer keep a portion in their pocket. Now we have before us just 1% sales tax extension, which includes sales tax sharing with the towns. And take it or leave it. That's our vote here tonight. Shoved down our throats from Albany politicians. It's another unfunded mandate sent down to us from Albany politicians that was negotiated by an Albany politician. So I'm not sure what our choices are this evening. Is there any other legislator who would like to make a comment?
Yeah.
Legislator Montgomery.
I'd hope that I could change some of the opinions here. I don't think I can. I keep thinking about what my son said to me today. We were fishing and he said, adults are just like children with money. And that's what's going on here. We have all this money. He's a smart kid. He just quit his job though at Harvard. I don't know how smart he is, but anyway, whatever. But I don't want to direct this at Legislator Yankee or anybody else who might be opposed to this. But one of the things that's been bugging me all along in these 5 months is 2 years ago and then 4 years ago when I voted against the extension, but 2 years ago in 2023, this body, including legislators Yankee, Sage, Adnesio, and Elner, voted to extend the 1%. At the time, they made very strong and clear statements in support of the extension. All right, I won't name names, but it was emphasized how critical it was that the request went through. It was addressed how important that the 1% was. It was stated that if we didn't pass this extension, it would have an astronomical impact on seniors. One legislator said that they would look for alternative revenue streams. At that time, we were looking at the 2022 budget, where we had brought in let's just say $82 million in sales tax revenue. 16.9 million more than we had budgeted for. Now in 2025, we're looking at the 2024 revenue sales tax, where we had a surplus of a little over 7 million. That's less than half of the surplus we brought in 2 years ago. And now in 2025, as of the April audit report that I looked at, we're on a downward trend of bringing in less than our projected sales tax revenue in 2025. So what I heard in these 5 months, the claims for the reasons for not supporting the 1% sales tax from legislators here who are opposed to this is because things have drastically changed for us financially with with that fund balance. But that fund balance is, I don't want to make light of it, but it's only 12 million more than it was 2 years ago when these legislators insisted that we have to vote for the extension. Now, $12 million is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things of a $180 million budget and the drastic change, the only thing that's changed this year is that we're seeing funds decrease. We're dealing with a $180 million budget. Likely we'll see a reduction in funding from every previous source that we've received in the near future. So we have ongoing needs here in the county, in our community, and I don't know what's really changed for these legislators to change their minds so much. We've been sitting on a huge fund balance for as long as all of us have been on this legislature. We have 12 million more in the 2 years that we last voted on this. So I don't feel like the numbers have changed that much. The only thing that seems to have changed is maybe the opinion of the county executive by some of my colleagues, even me sometimes. The opinion of each other has changed. So, and our unwillingness to do what's right for the people of whole of Putnam County. What's changed, I think, is about the money we're going to need in our county because of our inability to hire and retain employees. We need to give more. What's also changed is the significant infrastructure and service needs of our towns and villages, who struggle much harder year after year to stay under that 2% cap, and who have to work harder to get that FEMA funding, and who don't have the manpower or the equipment that we do to do these infrastructure projects, or to recover from these more frequent catastrophic storms that they have to fund directly on their own. They also have to fund emergency response and public safety, some of them directly on their own. Direct emergency medical services, they have to directly fund their fire departments, and in some cases, mental health services, because there's no county services anywhere near to reach their constituents. So again, we're here to serve the people, not personal politics shifting. I hope we can put aside all of that and put aside the shifting narratives and remember why we're here: to govern responsibly, to protect our taxpayers. I come from many years in town government. I just don't know where these towns get the money to do the things that they need to do. And it's hard for me to look at when I look at a $90 million fund balance. And I've always been in favor since I passed that resolution on the town board. So voting in favor of this home rule resolution isn't about party lines or personal differences. You know, let's get over the fact that we don't like the way it happened. We can change some of the wording, as I pointed out, in this resolution if we'd like. We've been united on this issue before, and the facts supported it, and they still do. So I just hope we can show the people of Putnam County that we can rise above the politics and do what's right and support this 1% sales tax extension and sharing to protect our residents. So hopefully we can do that together. Thank you.
Legislator Youngkin.
Yep, thank you. I just want to clarify a couple things, and I appreciate everything that Legislator Montgomery
Thank you.
said in the way that you say it. First thing, Legislator Goulman said that this is going to cost, if we didn't adopt the 1%, it would cost the taxpayers $22 million. It's not costing the taxpayers. We're taking $22 million less. We have the funds to cover the cost, whatever the cost of our services. What's changed in the last few years, When I first came on this legislature 8 years ago, our unassigned fund balance was just shy of $16 million. It's now at $90 million. Okay, so it's more than 5 times where it was at. 2023, we did have a $78 million fund balance, and as we all remember, we came out of COVID. People were home, they were shopping. It was just after the Wayfair lawsuit, which was settled in 2018, and we started feeling the effects of that starting in about 2020 as COVID hit. I voted for the extension in 2023 because we were unsure that the revenue stream would be sustained. All right, and now not only has it sustained, it's increased. That's my perspective, and things have changed. Admittedly, I've changed my opinion on this, but we've now got more money than we did in 2023, and I didn't think that would happen. You know, in 2022, most of us got behind the share of the growth, where we took ARPA funds and surplus from the, I think it was unanimous. We took fund balance and ARPA funding, and there was a process by which we distributed money back to the towns. It was significant, and I supported it. I'm supporting it today. And I just want to go back, Legislator Russo, you talked about nominal numbers. Do you know if we reduced the tax levy by $1 million, do you know how that would impact your property tax?
It would be something, but my whole point was that sales tax is shared by everybody, not just residents.
Okay,
My property tax is mine.
But you said nominal, you said the sales tax savings would be nominal. And by the way, I've reached out to my senior citizens. They want sales tax reduction, they want property tax reduction, they want a reduction in their building permit, they want a reduction in everything. But you talk about nominal numbers. Do you know what impact $1 million reduction would have on your property taxes? Tens, hundreds?
Probably hundreds.
$12. $12, $1 million reduction on the property tax levy would affect your property taxes by $12.
And if we did sales tax, it would be $25.
If you did sales tax, it depends on what you buy. If you buy a car, it could be $200, one shot. I mean, in my house, you know, the Amazon truck is coming day after day, but you would see the savings day after day. Every time you filled up with gasoline, you'd see a slight savings. None of this is earth-shattering change, but for you, $1 million tax cut would be $12. And do you know who the biggest taxpayer in Putnam County is?
You said New York City.
New York City. You know how much they would save? Anybody? $35,000. So the city of New York would save $35,000, utility companies would save in the tens of thousands of dollars, and we'd be saving, on average, $25. All right, so that's, to put everything in perspective here, that's what we're talking about. But we still have too much money.
Legislator Crowley.
I just want to talk about, you know, a couple of years ago, you were chairman, Legislator Yonke, and, you know, you and I had a little bit of back and forth about the $500,000 savings, and I said, that's nothing. And I remember Chairwoman Sage said, I think it was $12 it came down to a household, if we figured it out or something, 20, right? $12 a household. And I remember the chairwoman said, well, that could fill up, you know, a quarter tank in my grandmother's car. So, like, I don't understand. We're going back and forth here. If it's so nominal, why is it such a big deal? This is something you You ran on it, though. You ran on it as when you're running for supervisor. You ran on it, though.
But I'm giving it back to the taxpayer.
But when you ask people and everybody in this room who's elected that have come together bipartisanly in Albany, in county, and towns, villages, mayors, highway superintendents, every single,
They have the same responsibility. You're addressing
Let's
me.
just try not to go back and forth.
I apologize.
No, you have the floor.
So everybody that's here was elected to serve the people, the constituents that live in Putnam County, not the people who come here to shop. The people that live here, the people that own things here. And yes, there are other ways that we can do better, and we should do better. But right here is a start. And we have, for the first time ever, all the way from Albany, all the way down to our tiniest little village, everybody came together and said, this is what we want. And can it always be worked on? Yes. Legislator Adenizio had brought up $5 million over the next combining into $10 million, but there wasn't a mechanism. That wasn't a surefire thing for the towns and villages, that they felt that there was a mechanism that was going to be provided to them and given to them quarterly like there is in this. And I think that's why they came together, and I think that's why there was a compromise. And I think it's a good start. Can we always do better? Should we always do better? Absolutely. But this is a start. And it's more than we've ever done before.
Legislator Adenizio.
Just in response to the $5 million I proposed. Yes, there was no mechanism, but the reason why is because it would have been vetoed. There would not be a mechanism because there would not be one allowed. With that being said, Legislator Yonke, you mentioned also the $5 million also. We have that, and we have to do better.
Oh, we weren't
We need to do better. We need to give out that $5 million in another way, okay? However anybody wants to do it, but I think that we need to discuss that at a different date. Just want to mention that.
Legislator Elner.
Very briefly, in 2023, when I voted for this, I said, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm reluctant to do such because I believe we need to start weaning ourselves off the 1%. So that's what it was. But look, this is what we have, this is what's wanted, and I believe it's going to pass tonight.
Anyone else? Any other legislators? No. Okay, so we, tonight, Legislator
So let the
Coleman.
public speak.
Pardon?
We should let the public.
Should we vote? I think we should vote.
We should let the public. At the last meeting we had, school committee meeting, everyone's discussed it, and they
We've heard
agreed.
from the public.
So we should let the public, let the public, they hear it, they want to say something. So allow them, as the chairperson, to speak their means.
I appreciate, we've heard from a lot of the public. I believe this is going to pass tonight.
You don't know until the votes go through. Have the public tell us what they would like.
We have 2 more meetings tonight, and I'm just going to call for a vote.
You're not letting the public speak. That's all.
Make a motion.
I don't think that's, I'm going to call for a vote.
Is there a motion to move?
Would someone like to make a motion to approve agenda item number 4?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item number 4.
Second.
Legislator Elner seconds. Roll call vote, please.
Legislator Adenizio.
Although I don't agree how this was implemented, I will be voting in favor of this evening.
And can I just make I'm sorry, Legislator Adenizio, I just want to make sure that everybody, just vote yes or no. Everybody's already had a discussion.
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham, abstain. Legislator Crowley.
Yes.
Legislator Elner.
Yes.
Legislator Goldman.
Yes.
Legislator Young.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Oops, shut off my microphone.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh my gosh. And we want to let Dan.
He went long.
He's going
He went together.
I gotta bring
Oh,
He had to go home. He had to leave.
Good evening and welcome to the Physical Services Committee meeting. If everyone would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Legislator Crowley,
Present.
Legislator Yonke,
Present.
Chairman Elner.
Here.
Chairman, I'd like to make a point of order.
Yes.
Thank you. So I would like to bring to the attention that the chair has not considered the issue of my memo today as a committee at large, and I'd like to read it into the record. This was on behalf of Legislator Russo and I. We write to express our serious concerns about the integrity of the legislature's committee process as it pertains to the proposed Putnam County Early Learning Center.
Excuse me.
Chair,
Point of
I'm still
order.
thinking, I'm still speaking.
Per the legislative manual, no additional
Are you not gonna let me
materials or
speak?
items to be added to an agenda shall be accepted at any legislative committee meeting
Chairman, will you let
or
me
a meeting
speak?
of
I
the
have the
full
floor.
legislature without a letter of necessity from the sponsoring Putnam County elected official with full explanation as to the nature of the urgency and the potential impact on failure to act immediately.
So I'd like
The
to make a
acceptance of
parliamentary
such
inquiry to
additional
our,
materials or agenda items shall be subject to a 2/3 supermajority of the members present at either the legislative committee or a meeting of the legislature.
this is an incomplete agenda.
So
Chairman, you didn't
I
give
was
us,
about to make a motion to have an additional agenda item, a chairman's report. What you have would come up under other business, and that's when we can handle it.
so I would like to make a parliamentary inquiry with Conrad Pasquale from the Law Department as to if this falls into our legislative manual where it's referenced, that we, the committee at large, can decide what goes on the agenda. Conrad?
Well, I would have to look into this further. My understanding from when I've most recently reviewed the manual is that items that are sent on behalf of the legislator to the chairperson then assigns that to the chair of the committee.
So are you saying that you agree that all of us should or should not be put into, or be up for discussion onto what we put onto the agenda?
I actually
As
don't.
per the manual? 'Cause I have the legislative manual right here.
What section do you have? Because
So it's cited in my memo that I sent to you today.
Excuse me, point of order. Conrad, you have told us that you work for the legislature as a whole, not an individual legislator.
that is
So-
correct.
Like the
So
committee.
what's going on here?
He's
Okay?
checking the manual.
I'm just checking the manual because as the committee at
Excuse
large,
me, I'm
The
talking
legislative
to the,
I had the floor first.
you no longer have the floor, and that is the chairman's prerogative.
Chair,
I
You're
want
not
this
gonna let me
answered.
speak.
Not at this time.
If I'm going to respond to your inquiry, there was a memorandum that was sent, and I was copied along with, I believe, Chairwoman Sage. I don't remember who else was copied on that memo. And I was reviewing the legislative manual to address the question that Legislator Crowley was just posing.
Okay, and what I would like to do is make a chairman's report and come back to this, okay? So, motion to add agenda item 2A, chairman's report. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of you in here, and I hope that you, like me, are parents of the special needs children. What's going on here is there's a lot of information that has not flowed to the legislature. I wanted the information and I was denied it. Not only was I denied it, I was in writing denied access to important high-level county staff, commissioner levels, director levels. Questions that would have been asked had this meeting taken place were, what was your evaluation criteria for the location that you chose? What were locations 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
So what is your
Would
chairman's
you,
report on?
excuse
Don't
me,
interrupt.
Excuse you.
there's information that is needed so you can make informed decision. In doing my diligence, I reached out to different departments, and I found out that the Department of Public Works, who handles construction, was not contacted at all. There's a single-page letter that says this is gonna cost $1.538 million. Okay, what's the basis? There's also, after these precious children, early learning is done, they go to the Department of Social Services. To the best of my knowledge, Social Services never been contacted. All I wanted was basic information, so when we come before the legislature, which is probably gonna happen in June, we're all informed, and we can get things done. Because I can tell you one thing, I am so much in favor of this, from having an autistic child, and I know Legislator Yonke does also. And one of, to me, the critical things
So put it
would
on the
be
agenda.
to please get this going.
They're all here, put it on the agenda,
Excuse me.
Chairman. Do your due diligence,
Excuse
they're
me,
all
Legislator
here.
Crowley, you are out of order.
You're right, I
And
am.
if you continue with these outbursts, I'm gonna ask you to leave.
You can ask all you want.
Now, one of the most important things about this project is to get it moving and get it moving fast. If we have an alternative location that allows us to start in the 2025 September school year, why shouldn't we do it? Is there anybody in this room who objects to getting this done quicker and more efficiently? Is there anybody in this room who would object to not spending what is projected, $1.538 million, and using that on additional staff or additional things? Does this build-out include smart boards? How much staff is going to be here? How specialized? These are all the questions that I wanted to sit down with county officials, but I was denied access to them. And I was told, bring it out in a physical services meeting. Well, these people don't work for me. They work for the county executive. And I don't want to pressure them. I want them to be able to speak honestly and openly. So that's what's going on. I support this initiative. Oh, by the way, speaking to some other friends who are special needs parents, why are we calling it Think Differently? This is supposed to be inclusive. Why do I want to stigmatize a child that they're different? Okay? There's a lot of issues that need to be discussed, and I simply wanted to have an internal discussion, and I was denied that opportunity by the county executive. I can't say it enough. I support this initiative, this concept wholeheartedly. I want to do it the best way we can and as quickly as we can. And it is not going to be on tonight's agenda.
I would have spoken
Chairman?
openly and honestly.
I'd like to make a parliamentary inquiry. If you'd like to discuss
Legislator
privately.
Crowley, you have the floor.
Thank you. If you'd like to discuss things privately and not publicly, which you just stated, and you wanted to have a meeting, everybody is here, then we can go into an alternate location, or we can go into executive session if you want to ask certain questions that may not be appropriate. But we can certainly do that. We have everybody here. That's something that you could entertain, and we could get it moving if we all support it. We are all parents of special needs kids, all three of us here, including, I'm sure, a bunch of other people. Let's stop wasting time and move forward and just do the right thing. So if you'd like executive session, it's here, it's across the hall, we can do that.
We can't go into executive session for these items, that's
Conrad?
the problem.
Conrad, is there reason to go into executive session to discuss some of these?
It would depend on the basis for which you're asking. Under the open meetings law, there are certain justifications. If there are certain inquiries about a person or a corporation, for example, their health history, financial history, something like that, that may be applicable.
I'd like to know about all
Through
those
the chair,
things.
please.
I'd like to know all those things, and I think it would be a great reason. Financial history, I'd love to know about. I'd love to know all about it. And is that that's something that could move us to executive session? So I'd like to make a motion to move to executive session regarding
You
this.
don't have anything on the agenda.
I'm making a
I
motion
was-
to move. onto executive session on this. Because you said you didn't want to do it out in public, so here's your chance to do it behind closed doors.
Is there a second?
Really? Everybody's
You
here.
have the people here.
Everybody's here.
And I'll be quite frank and say, I'm not prepared, because I haven't
You wanna do
gotten
it
any
quickly?
information.
Quick is right
You
now.
said, you quoted at the last meeting, you
Legislator
said,
Montgomery?
Chairman, if I may offer a different perspective, and
Please.
I appreciate all of the information that you're looking for, and I too would be looking for that. And as a non-committee member and a non-chair of a committee, quite honestly, once you enter into that private conversation with the different departments and the powers that be, then the information gets lost on me, and then I have to rely on you to give that information to me. And I don't always appreciate that, as much as I have full respect for your chairmanship and this committee. It's practice in government that these questions and this work, this is why we have committees, the work of it
Correct.
happens in committee. And those people with the information are brought to the dais here, and they're giving the entire committee, as well as the entire legislature and the public equally, that information that you're looking for.
I completely concur, and I wanted to give the people, the county, the hardworking employees of Putnam County a chance to be fully prepared, so when they do come back in July. And we all know that everybody was
What
contacted
about
today.
June?
Everybody was contacted today
about
by the
June?
county excuse me, July is in error, June. Everybody was contacted by the county executive to get you riled up. Just trying to do due diligence and not hurry. Okay? There was a 37-page lease that was sent to us. 37 pages. Has anybody else in this room seen that lease? Okay. There's a lot of complications, and I want to make sure that all our I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and we get this right. So that's why, in a rush, I did not want to put it on this month's agenda, but it will be on next month's agenda, and I hope that the county executive will allow me to meet with department heads so we can have a meaningful discussion and everybody can be prepared to present everything that you all are entitled to.
Chairman, Chairman,
Yes?
why do you only get to have a meeting with all of them? That goes against everything we just said from going into executive session. And you also said at the April meeting, as a businessman, you urged us, meaning the health department and DSS, to have a plan for explaining when this blows up and demands an increase for this model throughout New York State. So now all of a sudden,
Never
when
said
this
that.
you absolutely said it, and you can look back in the minutes if you'd like to, but this whole body urged every single one of, all presenters to be ready at the next meeting with leases, with MOUs, with everything they had to get ready to sign and explain, and that's what they did, and that's why they're here tonight, not because anybody made phone calls. Because it's the right thing to do.
You have the floor.
Thank you. The county executives have been in office for 2.5 years. About a month ago, this initiative was brought to our attention, and now all of a sudden it's got to be done tomorrow. There's a lot of questions. I'm fully supportive. Everybody heard my story at the last meeting. This was something that impacted me personally. My daughter had to drive on a bus an hour each way to go for her education at an early age. So I'm behind this, but there's a better way to do it. I've identified an alternative site that nobody's told me why we can't consider it. Okay,
If we move to executive session, you can find out
Legislator
why.
Yankee has the floor.
No, we're not going to go to executive session. We're
Oh,
going to have that
maybe you should do your
discussion in
research.
public. We're going to have that
You
discussion
can't.
in public. Sure we are. We're going to have it in
can't.
public.
You can't.
Transparency. You're the one that put transparency in the memo. We're going to do
There's
it
a
in
reason
public.
why you can't.
But we're going to do it in a month. Somebody's going to give me an answer why we have a place right down the road that has a medical facility on the floor above a vacant school with 9 classrooms, nurses' stations, kitchen, cafeteria. Why was that not used? And if somebody's going to answer that, that's going to be done in public.
Are you still on the board there?
No, I'm not. I haven't been on a board
Excuse me,
in
through the chair,
10 years.
please.
Oh.
So if you want something done quickly, somebody's just gonna have to, and somebody, you don't have to do it tonight, you call me during the week, tell me why we're not going there. We have an agenda, we have a meeting.
I think there should be a motion for discussion from the colleagues and public on the motions that we've made. The public should be able to comment on this.
There's been no second to any motion.
Doesn't matter, it still allows for public comment.
You just said you've been reaching out to people, they're here. You reached out, they're here to speak.
It's all
Let them
performative. We only
speak.
put up
I
flags
didn't reach out to
and
anyone.
pinwheels. That's as far
I
as
mean,
we
you
can go.
said you were reaching
In front of school.
Okay.
You sent emails.
Agenda item 3 is
Sorry, guys.
acceptance of the physical services meeting minutes of March 18th.
So sad.
Agenda item 4 is approval for an intermunicipal shared services agreement with towns of Kent, Carmel, Patterson, Phillipstown, Putnam Valley, Southeast, and villages of Brewster, Cold Spring, and Nelsonville for sharing highway-related resources.
Every last one of you. I'm gonna be holding a meeting downstairs in the conference room after. Everybody's welcome. So you can come on down.
all of you.
Everybody can come. I've already checked with facilities.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, I'm really confused what's going on.
Commissioners?
Should be
Good evening.
appalled.
Did you get your pinwheel? Because that's all they care about, pinwheels. It's about the pinwheels.
So you have kids with autism.
Dan?
No, he's not here.
No, no.
He's not here.
Please start.
Yes, thank you. So this is a pretty big initiative, and I'd like to first start by thanking Lowell for putting the agreement together, working with us, working with all the other county highways, the towns and villages, and our general, Richie Othmer, is a big part of helping this. This is the first initiative of its kind in the state, actually. And right now, I believe all the villages and towns have accepted this MOU to go forward. So we're pretty excited about it, and we just really it's a credit to all the other towns and villages, highway departments that are entrusting all of us and working together to save the taxpayers a lot of money.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the committee? Legislators? Being that there's none, I move this forward for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 5 is the approval of an agreement with New York State for snow and ice removal. This is a 5-year extension.
Yeah, this is our 5-year agreement. We negotiate with the state every 5 years, obviously from 24 to 29, to maintain 120 lane miles of state road throughout the winter season. They establish baseline rates throughout the term, after which they issue a multiplier, which is called the Winter Severity Index, and then they typically knock that down to a number that they settle on themselves, and then we get paid for maintaining these roads.
Any increase or decrease from previous?
We received increases for labor and equipment for this term.
Any questions of the committee? Other legislators?
Chair?
Yes.
I know this, it's pretty big. I know the answer to this question, but this is regardless of if it snows or if it doesn't snow. If it snows once or if it snows 20 times.
I think that's where the winter severity index is applied.
Okay.
So if it's a mild winter, then we'll get less typically. But if it's it's more extreme winter.
So that is worked into this? If it's
Yes. Yes.
That's good.
Any other questions from the public? Okay. So this is a 5-year extension for a total of $6,232,000 some odd dollars starting July 1st. I move that we approve this. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 6 is approval for a budgetary amendment to close out FEMA projects. This is capital fund for various county roads after flood damage caused on July 9th of 2023. And we reference Commissioner Lewis. I take it that the commissioners at DPW are going to continue with this, please?
Yeah, this just closes out the July 9, 23 storm, that all the repairs that were done.
Ken, if I'm reading this correctly, that was an inflow of $927,000?
Yes.
Any questions of the committee? Legislators? Public? I move to approve this. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 7 is approval for a grant application for a farmland protection plan through New York State Department of Ag and Markets to update the Putnam County Agricultural Farmland Protection Plan. Commissioner Barosa, welcome and thank you for coming.
So this request is to apply for a open grant opportunity. It would be to update our 2004 Ag and Farmland Protection Plan. It's a 50% match. The fund, the New York State will provide $50,000. There is a $10,000 cash match by the county. $40,000 can be in kind.
Could you elaborate on that, please?
$10,000 would come from, I have money under contracts. $40,000 would be basically my services.
And the maximum amount we're eligible for is $50,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions of the committee? Legislator Crowley.
I just want to say thank you very much for doing this and entertaining my memo. I appreciate it, and I know it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm sure it'll be very appreciated by a large community.
Legislator Montgomery has the floor.
I also wanted to thank you, Commissioner. I know this is your second attempt to do this before us. We tried to do this in the 2023 budget, but we denied the funding for it. Isn't that correct? And we have not updated our farm plan since 2004. So this is a long time coming, and I think it will go a long way and alleviate maybe some of the problems we had most recently. Thanks.
Any public comment? Move to
We have
approve.
public comment.
Yes. Please state your name and where you live and work.
Cassandra Roth, Patterson, and Pauling. I guess to Legislator Montgomery's point, so did you mean 23 or 24?
I can't remember.
And that's what I wanted to just clarify, like, did this go before legislature last year officially? Because I know the budget was there, but I don't remember, because I was there a lot, right? I don't remember it ever getting to fiscal
It
services.
was 2 years ago, it's part of my budget. Soil and water and ag were part of the planning.
Okay, because like last year, I thought I saw it was in the budget, it just never got here.
I'm not sure, it wasn't, I didn't handle the budget.
I just wanted to.
If I can help. So it would have been addressed in the October budget process when we meet and hash out the budget, and it was mentioned during that process in 2023.
Or 2024.
Yes.
Okay, but then it never actually got, like, no one here had seen that.
No, we took it out. We denied it.
Okay, but like legislature denied it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
David? Oh, through the chair,
Yes.
can we just get some information on that, the date and when that actually happened?
Physical service budget meeting.
Okay, I'd just like to see backup.
22 or 23?
It was a
No,
request for
four.
$10,000.
It's $10,000 request?
To fund under contracts, under ag.
Any other comments from legislators or the public? Okay. I move to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you. Agenda item 8 is approval for DPW for budgetary amendment Capital Project 525511. This is Myrtle Avenue at 6N Garage. I assume that's a typo, it's roof repair.
Yes. This is our main garage on the basically the most western side of the county for us. We had a storm, ripped off half the roof about a year and a half ago, and then when we went through the inspection from an outside contractor, there was actually 19 layers of membrane on it with asbestos, so it's been there when you were, it's been there forever, so it needs to be addressed. And while we're doing it, some of our new plow trucks are taller, so we're actually going to raise the doors.
Any questions of the committee? Legislators? Legislator Crowley.
You're making that building nice and sparkly, aren't you? It was such an eyesore, now it's beautiful. Thank you so much for all your hard work. We appreciate you, and you saved so much money on the last project, so we appreciate it.
Legislator Montgomery.
But where is it?
6N.
Okay. Thanks.
Legislator Anizio.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, you said 19 layers? How
Believe
was
it or
that?
not, we were shocked. Absolutely
How is
shocked.
that possible? You
So it just
can't-
tells you how strong the building is. It's only 19 layers, right?
Which one more?
I mean, it's usually 3 layers, right?
One more.
That was my first one.
Just put a thatched roof.
Yeah.
I never heard of 19 layers.
Same. It was shocking. I thought he made a mistake. It was 1.9, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, right.
Has a lot bigger space now.
Yeah.
Would the public like to weigh in? Okay.
On the 19 layers, no?
Okay, I see it has no fiscal impact for the next 2 years. We're just transferring some funds, so I move this to approve. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Item 9 is also DPW, a budgetary amendment, additional funding to support the continuation of Capital Project 5210. This is the Youth Bureau reallocation.
Make a motion to accept the additional.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
As you can see in the pictures, there was some crazy fire damage throughout, which we didn't know because the building is constructed not with sheetrock, it's wire lath and plaster. You know, it's an old building, and went through many different iterations. So we had thought that they upgraded a lot of the electric back in the 70s and then 80s, which we found out they didn't. It was actually cloth wiring. We were just lucky, I guess, the county was lucky that it was able to extinguish itself for lack of oxygen because of the wire lath. But it was extensive. And then we had 2 hot spots of asbestos, which changed. You know, again, when you're looking to assess what the cost would be, we're not guessing on the asbestos end. So that got us, and so did some lead remediation. But it is it's the cornerstone building of the whole farm, and I think, I give the county executive kudos for picking it out to be a youth bureau, because I think it's a perfect fit on the farm. It's the last piece of the puzzle up there, and I think it's worth putting the money into it. And such a great department, great usage for the property. And this is all being done in-house too, so, you're realizing it is a big number, but it's getting done in-house, which the numbers, you could times that by 4 if we were to go outside, so credit to our tradespeople.
Okay, so basically you're asking for $115,000.
The total, yeah, I can't speak to it's 180, but of the 185, I believe, the 50 is for fire, swiped entryway security. That's Tom Lannon's purview. And then 25, the other 25 from his is for internet, for all the data, there's all the programming going on in the building.
Okay, just want to clarify, because with the additional here, you have a total additional cost of $114,994.
That's our actual cost. So that was the change from our department. It should have been on the agenda item itself. It has the total cost.
190.
190, sorry, yes.
Okay.
Right, we were 115 and then IT basically is the security end, so 50 and 25 are the breakdowns for Farmland.
Any questions of the committee? Legislators? Public? I move to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Agenda item 10 is approval of budgetary amendment for operations and maintenance, O&M costs for future repairs at the wastewater treatment plant, assuming this is the plant at the golf course.
Correct. This was meant to account for, actually, our operator opted out of their contract, I think 2 months ago.
Contract operator.
Yeah, exactly. So actually DGS solicited proposals from a few different, operating firms in the area. And the cost is estimated to be about $4,000 a month as opposed to $1,425 a month. So we'll have to account for that in addition to 2 aeration blower replacements. The operations costs are 54.4% reimbursable by DEP, and then the aeration blower replacements, I should say, are 75% reimbursable by DEP as well. So.
Okay, I see Commissioner Tully is here. Would you like to weigh in on this?
Sorry, what was the item?
10. Item number 10.
Just only if you'd like to, John. This is the additional cost associated with operating the wastewater treatment plant.
We're currently working on a new operator, and we're finding the results of the solicitations that we've been doing. The costs of operating the wastewater treatment plant are significantly higher than what they were 3 years ago. And so that just supports the department's request for the additional funding. 75%, I think Joe mentioned that, is reimbursable through DEP, but we have to outlay it first.
So I see that the fiscal impact for this year is going to be $68,000. Any questions of the committee? Legislators? Yes, Legislator Montgomery.
And this is all for the golf course?
It is, yeah, for the wastewater treatment facility, which we're required to have there per DEP regulations.
And,
Sorry.
that's okay. I can have it on mine anyway. And I know we have a contractor that runs the golf course. That's his operation. He collects the revenue for the golf course. I'm just thinking, he budgets every year. We know what he's budgeted for his projected income for the year. And does he ever go over? Like, we should.
This is different. This is just the operations for the wastewater treatment
I know.
facility.
I'm just trying to find somebody else to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, like,
but my point is, I'm saying, if they're making a lot of money at the golf course, which I've heard they are, which is great, right? And if they have a surplus, maybe we should get a percentage of that surplus. Do we get a percentage of their surplus income?
Yes.
We do?
Yes, and this is a requirement for DEP also.
Sure.
And they're paying.
We have to take care of our property, I get it.
I'm pretty certain that when the costs, I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, but when the costs are presented for the operations of the golf course, the treatment plant numbers are factored into that, yes.
Okay, I'm just looking for
I mean,
a way to get somebody else to pay for it.
We will budget for that next year too, so.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Public? Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 11 is approval for soil and water conservation district, a budgetary amendment. This is for an intern. It's going to be using Part C money. The intern will be with us for 13 weeks, 40 hours per week, starting May 26th. Okay? Do Do you have any additional information would you like to share on this?
We're actually just very excited to have this person. She graduated, has a big, heavy background in GIS and programming. So she's gonna be tasked with taking a lot of our analog and digitizing it for us over the summer. So it's gonna, and this will also help all the towns and villages with their MS4 program. So we're kind of doing their work at the same time, which is good.
Committee have any questions? Legislators? Public? Move to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
12, item 12 is for architectural service and engineering services. And I'm just looking to see, okay, you want to amend Cap 19 CPO 06. Okay, which structure is this for?
This isn't specific to any kind of.
This is general
structure.
for
This is
your
just a programmatic,
overall budget to.
Yeah, for consulting fees.
So you can't hire consultants.
We are, yeah.
Okay, you want to add $160,000 to that budget line.
Yes, so usually we ask for the 100, this time we're asking for 160 because we've got 60 will be specific to the security of buildings 2 and 1, the proposed security entranceway. So we know that'll take a lot out of our operating for A&E services. You know, a lot of these, you don't see them, but for instance, we're doing the new HVAC units on top of the courthouse, in-house, which is a major project, but the engineering part goes out and gets serviced out, even though we're doing it inside. The boilers at the sheriff's department were also was the same, very similar. So the 60 we wanted to separate only because we know we've got projects for the next 2-3 years that we're going to need some services for.
We'd like to also do LiDAR scans of our existing facilities too, to get a more accurate representation of, the floor plans and dimensions and all that. So it's something we plan on using that money for in the future.
Any questions of the committee? Legislators? Yes, Legislator Montgomery.
Thank you. We approved 100,000, right? So you're just looking for an extra 60? Is that, or are you looking for 160 more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Public? Okay. Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item 13 is 25 CPO 3. This is for the security gate, which I understand is now a requirement at the Board of Elections. We have Election Commissioner Primavera here. Would you like to start, or would you like me to go with the gentleman from Public Works?
Essentially, the gates that we do have now, it's a chain link gate that is pretty archaic. We did late last summer, have an evaluation of our operations and our early voting sites done by CISA. There are issues with the gate, and they are recommending that we have more 20th century
I mean, with this photo that you have, there's big issues with the gate.
Yeah,
People
see
can
the
just walk
gaps.
right
You
through,
see
yeah.
the gaps.
My dog would get out.
Yeah. The sheriff also has a building on the back end of our property, and he's also supporting the electronic gates. I have his memo, if I can hand it out through the chair.
Okay.
It came late.
As additional.
Motion to accept.
I understand motion to accept it. I have a motion to accept an additional. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
question, the proposal over here, is this a final, or is this just someone which we're budgeting on?
That was, as far as the,
Yeah, it's a final proposal, the price is based on OGS contract.
Got it. So this was on state bid?
Yes.
Okay. And for the public, it's $40,970 for everything. Any questions, any of the legislators? Public? Okay. Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 14 is approval, 25 CPO4 for the chapel improvements, not to exceed $150,000 for the chapel at Veterans Memorial Park.
so this is the Whipple Chapel on the way into the park. We're looking to bring it up to energy code is the biggest thing, really, and then to be able to utilize it more. So once our crews move out of building 7, they'll be moving over there. That's the plan to upgrade it. So insulated. We're gonna build some secondary storm windows, basically, just so you keep the look of the chapel, and then put HVAC units in the chapel. It was used nicely a couple of years ago. If you remember, the Headless Horseman had a play there for about a month. We really do think it could bring a lot more to the park in the way of weddings, things like that, where people could get married on the property and then have the festivities in the park also.
Any questions of the committee? Legislators? Public? Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Other business?
Sorry, we did send a late notice today about the CHIPS funding.
15A. Like, move to add the additional 15A to the agenda. Do I have a
Other
second?
business, not
As
additional.
other business, thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Please explain to everybody in the room what CHIP stands for.
Oh, no. There's about 4 different acronyms, and CHIPS is the one that most people use, but it's funding basically for highways, for asphalt, for our paving systems. So we did get an increase this year, which is great. We just have to get on the schedule for the outside contractors. So if we miss getting it on today, there's a possibility. First of all, the prices go up, but second is the contractors move out of our area. So we usually start early here, and then they start moving upstate. So it's funding given to the state. We're just looking to use it.
It's an additional $831,356 of funding that has become available, and you want to make sure to use it. So paid, paid, paid.
Paid, paid, paid.
Any questions of legislators? Committee? Public? Make a motion to approve. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Is there any other business?
Yes.
I don't see any other business here.
Well, I want to speak on the other business as
We
far as
don't-
the children are concerned.
I'm sorry, we don't have any other business. That comes from the
Well,
legislature.
you don't want it to be other business, but there is other business, and
Can I have a
people are
motion to
directing their
adjourn?
lives around where they're gonna send their
All those
kids
in favor?
and just talk
Aye.
openly, and it's all about
Thank you.
pinwheels, it's all
You have
performative for you, and you don't care about these children that have special needs, even though you have kids with special needs. It's a shame. It's really disgusting, and you really should be ashamed, and walk out.
Ready? Welcome to Health, Social, Educational, and Environmental Committee meeting. Please stand for the pledge. Mr. Russo, can you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Legislator Elner.
Here.
Legislator Russo.
Here.
Chairwoman Anisio.
Present. Number 3 is the approval for Office for Senior Resources, New York State contracted grants. This is Social Adult Daycare Services Program. Good evening, how are you?
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Good. Good. So this is for contract approval. If you could just give us a quick synopsis.
Sure, so this is a grant that we've had since the inception of the program. So it's a 5-year cycle. The reason why we came before you today is because it does have a 25% county match on it.
Okay. Very good, okay. Any questions from the committee, comments? Any other legislators, questions? Legislator Crowley.
I just want to say thank you for continuing to get grants for things like this. It's really important to keep it in all age groups, young, old, and hopefully we'll have a young one soon. Thank you.
So this is total of $525,000 for a 5-year period, basically $105,000 a year?
That's correct.
Okay. Very good. Anyone from the public? No? Okay. Make a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to number 4. You're not moving?
No, I'm still here.
This is for Office for Senior Resources. This is our Field Hall Foundation. This is home safety. Right, this is, can you just tell us what the home modifications are that are included in this?
Sure, so it's kind of have it like pigeonholed it, so kind of whatever they need. So anything from the grab bars, ramps, lighting, fixtures, anything to keep them safely in the home.
Okay. So who fits the home for that? Like who comes in to do that? If they needed some, say for instance, a ramp put in?
Sure, so actually this kind of came about because one of our clients needed an exterminator. So that's why we also have the environmental part of here. So we actually are using a vendor that the county already has dealings with, just because we have all their paperwork. But we're also going to leave it up to the client themselves. So if they find a contractor that they know, trust, and the price is right, we will do whatever we need to get them set up as a vendor as well.
Okay, very good. And it doesn't seem like it's basically its average project is $500.
Right, so we're trying to serve as many as possible, so it could be a $30 job and anywhere, but we're going to go with the most need, and that's why I also have in here the financial aspect. We're going to target people who are very low income.
Right, right. Because it doesn't seem like a lot of money to have.
Right, so this is kind of the start. Field Hall also helped us with our transportation program that kind of kickstarted it, so this is kind of the figuring it all out and getting it going.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions from any committee members? Any legislators? Legislator Goulden.
Thank you. Have you figured out how someone would apply for this yet, or that we're really talking too early?
Well, it's going to be, we're going to start with our caseworkers and outreach workers, identifying people that are already our clients. Because of the amount of money we have, that's where we want to start. If we find out that we do have left over, we are going to then publicize it.
Okay.
Legislator Montgomery.
Speaking of at-home equipment to help people stay in their home, is there any way or place that you know of, or can we think about doing it ourselves, where people can donate the equipment? There's so much equipment out there that people try to get rid of.
Like walkers,
chairs, walkers.
Yes, so Pauling Resource Center is who we refer a lot of people to.
Okay.
They are fantastic. They have everything from the bath chairs.
And they take donations?
They take
too?
donations,
Okay.
correct, yes.
Great.
Yeah, so we actually
Pauling
refer.
Resource Center, thank you.
Absolutely.
What group is that that takes donations?
Pauling Resource Center, right on 22.
Pauling?
Pauling, yep.
Pauling Research Center. You're on 22?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that do go there and they borrow it and bring it back.
Exactly.
Which is good.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. They have so many things there.
They do. Yeah, it's very good. Anyone else? Public? I think I asked. No? Okay. Okay, this is, make a motion to, nope, this is discussion, sorry. Nope, that is approval. I just forced the wrong one off. Okay, make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Number 5.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. So this is update on the Stabilization Center Mobile Crisis Team. Good evening, how are you?
Good evening, how are you?
Good.
So we just wanted to, stop by and give you some information on the newly operational mobile crisis team that People USA is running. So you do have the one pager, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
So this is what's being used to educate the public, the school districts, law enforcement agencies. They've been operational for about, I believe, 3 weeks now. Monday through Friday, 12 to 8. Their phone number is on there, and a mobile crisis team was identified as one of the missing pieces in Putnam County and how we respond to crisis for both children and adults. So we're very excited that they're here, and we will be partnering, and you'll be meeting them throughout the next few months. So I think that our school districts will be utilizing our mobile crisis team a lot. This is for somebody that does not require law enforcement, so it does differ from our corresponder team in that we're attempting to engage the person before it gets to that point of requiring law enforcement. So families will call, people can call for themselves.
So I'm just looking at, there's no out-of-pocket cost, which so people
No,
need
this
to be
was,
aware.
yeah, this was money that is passed through from us through the Office of Mental Health.
And people can actually call, individuals can call.
Yep.
It says community providers, school personnel, and law enforcement, and there's a contact number. So how, has this been, I'm gonna say advertised or put out there to the public? Do people, are they aware of this?
Yeah,
Is there any?
we kind of soft launched it
Yeah,
for the
this-
first few weeks, because once they're hot, they're gonna be hot. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a constant turnover, so.
I would imagine. It's gonna be very
Especially
popular.
with the kids coming back from spring break, they're getting into the schools, they're meeting with the administrators, all of the law enforcement agencies. They will be at our mental health forum. They're going to different events throughout the month.
Okay. Anyone from the committee, questions or comments? Yes.
I just have one. Can somebody call like anonymously?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, if people know that there's an issue and they want to make the call, they don't have to say who they are.
Yeah, as long as it's not, as long as the situation isn't posing a threat to someone or someone else, yes.
Thank you.
Do you mean like calling for somebody else anonymously or for themselves?
Well,
Either. Either.
Cool, yeah.
Because you don't have to get there, you don't have to, show up.
Right.
You can just give advice over the phone.
You can, yeah, but this is more of an in-person.
Yeah.
Legislative Crowley.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question. So with this is awesome because with kids, obviously we don't have stabilization center yet. Where are they if the children are in need of some sort of further treatment? Where are we referring them out to or bringing them to? Because I know before they do go to Putnam Hospital, there was no any sort of resources at all there for them,
Yeah.
even mobily for them to deal with. So what are we doing
Yeah.
with this? Where did they get referred to and how does it go?
And you'll see their time. So the idea was to have co-responder and mobile crisis cover a majority of the day. This team is operational from 12 to 8. We're gonna take a look at that over the next month, see if the calls, I expect the calls will increase significantly in September when the school is there. School is back in session, so if we need to adjust the times where mobile crisis is operational, we will. In saying that, mobile crisis can bring a child to Westchester. It's not, as long as it's a voluntary situation, and they're willing to do that, and they have done that, so.
Or 7:45?
Or what?
That would be
Not
law
9.
enforcement.
9:45, yeah, there you go, sorry. 9:45, yeah.
So Putnam Hospital is still accepting and will assess a child in the emergency room. Some families choose to send their children down to Westchester instead.
Oh, I didn't know
Because
they
there's
even
beds
were
there.
assessing, they were doing
No,
assessments.
they absolutely will
For children.
psychiatrically evaluate a child.
Okay. Thank you.
Kind of walk me through like a situation where this might be something that a parent or maybe a 25-year-old or somebody would make a phone call, and then at what point would you call law enforcement or transport them to a hospital or something of that nature? I mean, what kind of scenarios
That's a
are we
big
talking
question.
about here?
So I think that mobile crisis teams throughout the state, it's a best practice approach, so this isn't something new, it's new to Putnam. If somebody is having anxiety of any kind, including our school-age kids with the school anxiety and social anxiety, any sort of depressive symptoms. I mean, really, when people are debating whether or not to go to the emergency room or mobile crisis, and soon the stabilization center will be an option, a lot of families will choose to call mobile crisis first. So they will make the decision, and their clinicians, their peers, their caseworkers, when they're on scene, if they're unable to de-escalate the situation, they will either call law enforcement or myself for that transfer order, or they will bring the person to the emergency room themselves. So it's hard to answer that question because each case is obviously different, but we've been talking about having a different approach to crisis and mental health in this county since I got here a few years ago, and I think that, this is the year where we're gonna finally see things fall into place here and what we're able to do. Of course, People is the same agency that's gonna be running the stabilization center, so.
What a great resource. I think even if somebody is maybe, suicidal, and don't think they'll actually do it, but just want to talk to somebody, or any kind of resource, I think that'd be amazing.
Yes. So, and I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce Paul Tang as our new Director of Mental Health. So I wanted to make sure to bring him, so he will be in front of you moving forward on some mental health issues.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Did you have?
I did, but
Legislator Montgomery. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Is
Legislator
this
Montgomery.
flyer online somewhere?
Yes.
It is?
It is online. It will be also,
Where is it online?
I will be on our website. It is on the People's website. It will be added to the Sheriff's Office website, so it's out there.
So we can all share
Thank
it
you.
on our pages.
If someone
yeah.
calls at midnight, does someone pick up the phone, or is there an answer machine, or what happens? Or it just
No.
rings and rings and rings?
There will be a message that says that it is not operational at that time, but one thing that we will be doing is once the stabilization center is open, that will be 24/7. So the phone will be routed to the stabilization center. We're also taking a look at routing it to our crisis house over in Garrison, Rose House. So we're taking a look at that. We would, in a perfect world, operate 24 hours a day. It's just not
Do you have
realistic here.
Do you suggest they call somewhere else? Or you just say, call back at noon?
I suggest they call during operating, when they're operational, but we can't control when a crisis happens. So I think that if they call, they need to make the determination on whether or not to go to the emergency room in the middle of the night. We just don't have anyone in the middle of the night right now, until the stabilization center is open.
Do you happen to know when most people will call, or a track record from other operations? Would it be 12 to 8, or?
We find in Putnam County, because we are definitely not trending like other counties, 8 to 8 has been when we receive the most amount of calls for service.
8 p.m. to 8 a.m.?
8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Would it be able to, somebody to forward the message, maybe somebody who could be on call, who stays up late?
Not at this time, but we are absolutely looking at it, because you also have to remember that the state is licensing these programs too, so
certain criteria.
right now we can't intersect the licenses and whatnot.
Legislator Montgomery.
Thank you so much. I know you have been talking about this since you
Yes,
started as
very
commissioner,
excited.
and I'm really excited. Been wanting this for a really long time. I did have a question related to what Legislator Sage said about, you know, in a suicide crisis, in a suicide attempt, in a situation like that, and this might be getting into the weeds, law enforcement's going to respond right away, right?
Yes.
And with a suicide hotline call, will that go to the mobile crisis team if they call the suicide hotline? Law enforcement's just gonna respond regardless,
Yeah,
I guess.
right now, it's set up where if calls come into the suicide hotline,
Law
it's sent to law enforcement, or it's sent to our 211 crisis hotline. Calls that go into that will also, into the United Way's crisis line will also be sent to law
I
enforcement.
know when law enforcement is involved, they kind of really have to be taken into custody most of the time. With this situation, with the mobile crisis team, you think there'll be some flexibility for them to be released to the parent or the mobile crisis team for them to handle it rather than law enforcement?
Yes, I do.
These are weedy questions, I'm sorry. And one more question. The standard follow-up occurs the days after the initial crisis. Does People's Inc. do that? Does
People
Putnam-
USA, yeah, so they are running the team.
Okay.
We do have oversight because of the funding, and Paul and I will be actively involved, auditing,
You're
making
not
sure.
they don't have to follow up though. They have staff that will do that.
People USA. has that.
Wow, great.
So they have hired, they have a team leader, a social worker, and a case manager, somebody with lived experience.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Thank you for working on it.
And we'll be at the forum if you are
I
able
will
to.
be here. Sorry.
Anyone else? Any other questions?
When
Legislator
is the
Sage?
forum?
20,
Thursday.
This Thursday,
Yeah, it's this
22nd.
week.
This
Yeah.
Thursday, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry to miss it.
Anybody else from the public? Are you done on this, or you want to
Yep.
look at the stabilization
We'll
also?
go on to stabilization when you let me know again.
Okay, I'll just ask, anybody from the public have any comments on this item? Yes, please come forward and state your name.
Oh, the purple pen's back. Nice. First, Sarah, thank you, as always. All the things that you're doing are so incredible. I did have a question because we talked a lot about mental health, and when we do that, we always spend a lot of time talking about depression and suicidal ideation for good reason. I've done a lot of training with law enforcement down in Westchester and Fairfield around young people who have special needs and usually are nonverbal. And a lot of the calls they get are from business owners, where somebody has either wandered away from school, wandered away from home, wandered into the community somewhere. The business owner sees them and sees their behavior profile and isn't sure what to make of it, and their first call is to law enforcement. Law enforcement always has that difficult job of all the burdens that we place on them to be diagnosticians and everything else. Is there an outreach to businesses around the county to make them not just aware of this, but that this may be the best way to go in lieu of calling law enforcement in a situation like that?
Yeah, so the mobile team has been out to our businesses, into our villages, and they are handing out these flyers everywhere. So you'll see them posted in Starbucks or in diners and restaurants. So yes, really the first few weeks have been spent on marketing and getting out and meeting business owners and the community.
Awesome.
So, yes.
We can invite you to our Chamber of Commerce meetings
Yeah.
monthly. That would be a great way to reach all
That's a
them.
good idea. That's a good idea.
I just want to piggyback off of, Sarah, do they still do the
Come to the front, just say-
IDs for nonverbal, or I think autism was a big one. They used to have IDs that would, people that had autism would be able to carry and identify that they had different needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Or is that something that's phased out?
It's not phased out, they're just different versions of that throughout the county. Carmel PD has a great form that you can attach a picture to. Our office has gone live with our registry. So hopefully soon this week, you'll be able to go online and fill in information for somebody and upload a picture. Other than that.
And that's what with all special needs?
all
And ages?
disabilities. And through our office, it's everybody, an adult, child, whether it's a developmental disability or a physical disability, something that would prevent you from being able to leave your home in the event of an emergency or a fire. It gives our law enforcement and first responders information about that person when they respond to the home. So
And
that
with
they
the
know
early
that.
learning center too, we could sign people up through that, right?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, can you just state your name?
Megan Suter Williams, Lake Carmel. I just wanted to ask a question before I started. Is this just in regards to the mental health portion? Or is it special needs overall?
We were just talking about the mobile crisis outreach team, if you had any comments or questions.
The comments on that pertaining, there is the Safe Me program, which is through Kent and being spread throughout Putnam and Dutchess County. It's set up between the police departments. Parents can fill out their information of their children, their adult special needs children, and they just enter in your child's information, and it gives you all the information right there. It will say what their pediatricians are, their therapists are, what their diagnoses are, if they're verbal, if they're not verbal, what their stims are, all different types of things. Also, there's, through the Sheriff's Department, a thing called the Blue Envelope Program, where you can put the blue envelope in the side of your glove box, and you can pull that out if you happen to be in the car with one of your special needs family members. And that also allows law enforcement to know what is going on if, God forbid, you are in a situation with a special needs person that cannot speak for themselves and might be seen as a risk because law enforcement does not understand what is going on with that individual. And lastly, just to touch on it, I do work in a hospital for 23 years. We have a law called EMTALA. We are not allowed to refuse care to anybody who comes into an emergency room. You have to stabilize them. So if stabilizing them means that you send them out to another facility or whatever, that's fine, but they have to be assessed and stabilized. We are not allowed to refuse anybody emergency intervention regardless of their ability to pay or not.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. And the blue envelope also is for people that are driving.
Yes.
And sometimes, if they're pulled over, a lot of times the police department or whoever pulls them over, law enforcement, would think that they're drunk. So that's why they have that with them on there, yes.
Hello, hi, Tom
Good
Amier
evening.
from Town of Southeast. So many caveats to this. Legislator Montgomery, you were hesitant about going into the weeds. Please don't, because this topic is so fraught with problems here in Putnam County, most that one can't speak about because of HIPAA and other things. But in Putnam Hospital, there is absolutely no facilities to deal with a minor who is having any sort of issues. There are only certain people if they happen to be working at that shift. Otherwise, you are held over. And what she talked about, that law with empowerment, but you could go into an emergency room on a 941 or a 945, which is voluntary or involuntary. So law enforcement will get involved to make sure the person doesn't hurt themselves or anybody else. You go to the Putnam Hospital emergency room on Friday. On Monday afternoon, after staying in the emergency room for 72 hours, you might be able to get a room somewhere else. So the questions that you're asking about the weeds are good questions, because it seems like there's a lot of different efforts here in Putnam, not all synonymous, not all synced up, but they should be, because every person who's in a position of power making here should unfortunately have the observation of seeing how that works one time, because it will change your entire mindset, watching a minor go through the system in Putnam County. It's incredibly difficult. This is a great step and a great resource that will be coming. We don't have that right now, and it's really fraught with a lot of problems for the youth that are in trouble. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is that Eleanor?
I'm glad someone brought up the blue envelope and Commissioner question. Is there any coordination between the blue envelope? Because as far as I understand, they're only voluntarily, if you go to the Sheriff's Department, you pick it up. does it make sense to have coordination so we know people who have
Who
them?
have them other than the sheriff's office? I-
No, I'm saying the recipient, because obviously,
Say the question again, I'm sorry.
if a family member picked up a blue envelope to the benefit of one of their other family members, they just have it, what happens if they forget to give the envelope? It's a realistic situation, so what I'm saying is, does it make sense to coordinate whoever picks up a blue envelope, that they're recorded and we know that this individual has special needs?
That sounds really great, but I don't know that it would be realistic in this county, just because of communicating that. So, you know, my understanding is that different law enforcement agencies have a different database system, so not everyone's on the same one. So I don't know how to answer that. We would have to ask the Sheriff McConville that. But yes, it sounds great.
Anyone else? Anyone else from the public? Okay, we'll move on now to the second part.
So the gentleman mentioned the children in Putnam County not having any inpatient beds for children. We've come here before to talk to you guys about the Stabilization Center and how during the school year, more than half of the people that walk through the door are school-age children. So it's another way that we're hoping to address that issue in Putnam. But we wanted to just let you know about the recent Carmel Planning Board that we went to. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So the People USA went in front of the Carmel Planning Board on May 8th. You know, they had a lot of technical questions about the facility, which People USA answered to the best of their ability, but there are some, you know, return items, so they'll be going back at a later date, again, to see the planning board before a public hearing is scheduled. We've also done some community outreach as well to the housing development behind the proposed site. The proposed site is at 1071 Stony Avenue. So we've had a couple of meetings with their health and safety committee as well as their the general community to answer some questions with People USA as well.
And how did that go, the meetings?
I think, you know, overall they were okay. There were a lot of questions. There were a lot of sort of concerns about past experiences, not specific to People USA, just sort of in general. But I think there was a lot of opportunity for education, and overall, you know, they went okay.
Would that be something that could possibly block this? They were.
I'm not sure.
Only the planning board could, not the community itself.
So you know, when do you go back to the planning? When do you go back to?
That's to be determined.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
you don't have a date, so you
Nope.
went on May 8th, okay. Okay. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from any legislators? Public, any questions on the Stabilization Center? Comments, questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
That was just on for discussion and update, just so everybody's aware of that.
Better situation than
Moving
what's
on
number 4.
to 6 is the approval for budgetary amendment 25A041. This is state aid for the mobile crisis unit. Okay, so we already know what that's about, and is there any discussion on that? It says zero fiscal impact for 2025 and 2026. So everyone's aware of that. Any legislators? I'm sorry.
Just to be clear, the contract, the subcontractor for this is People USA. Just to be clear.
Anyone from the public? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. And number 7 is, this is a watershed agreement, Putnam County, member of East of Hudson Sporting Advisory Committee. We are appointing the approval of Chris Ruthven. So he will be appointed Parks and Recreation Deputy Commissioner Chris Ruthven to succeed Mr. Tamania. This approval. Do we have any questions or comments from the committee? Or any other legislators? Public? Okay, make a motion to approve. Ms. Ruthven?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to add the Early Learning Center resolution to the agenda for health.
The motion, do we have a second? No second. Okay, make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Excuse me, do you have public comment?
All in favor?
Do you have public comment before the end? No, Madam Chair, you don't want public comment from folks before the end of your meeting?
Public comment.
So
No,
I was
no
hoping to make public comment on agenda items 1 through 8, because I know comments were made at this meeting and
I
previous
asked for
meetings.
public comment on each item when
Well,
it was
other
out.
business, I'm offering, there was comments about access to
I
department heads.
already adjourned the meeting,
You
I'm
have
sorry.
department, well, okay, well, it's First Amendment, you're allowed to leave.
Mhm.
We have department heads
Yeah, well.
from all this county, personnel, Putnam County personnel, from health, social services, DPW, the law department, planning, Department of General Services. All these folks have come here, no one
Why
has
did they
been
come
blocked
here?
access, no legislator has been blocked access to these department heads. Absolutely outrageous, false accusations were made, in which I had directly in writing. Mr. Elmer, are you sweating? This is a response to your request that you sent Friday at 4:58 p.m. Within one business day, we responded and actually made it very clear that the members of this administration, happy to meet with you, openly, transparently, with your colleagues of the legislature. It is not fair to have unilateral conversations with multiple department heads and excluding your fellow colleagues. It's not fair to you, Madam Chair, the Chair of the Health Committee, when there was a request,
Yes, sir, you
multiple requests before the Health Committee from the administration. You have a very important job as the Health Chair to vote on a resolution. You should not be sidelined or excluded. There's plenty of opportunity. If the legislators want to go in executive session, I don't need to be there. You have our health administration, all these people that want to answer your questions. There is a really short timeline for parents to be able to take care of their children with special needs. We have very few
So
amount of
then
time
why wouldn't you
before session.
consider an alternative that allows them to start school
Talk
in
about it,
September?
ask about it. You're all here to answer the question, Greg. No one has denied anything from you. Everyone is here. Ask them, ask them. They're all here. You got people in charge. Everybody is here. Members of this legislature made comments on the record at the Health Committee last month. Parents make decisions based on the words that came out of your mouth. They have to make decisions.
Okay, wait, nobody's against this center.
Well, then let them talk about it.
Yeah.
Let them talk about it.
Can I say something? I'm the chair, I would like to
Absolutely.
speak.
Thank you, I'm glad, thank you. Sure, thank you.
It came to the health committee, it came to my committee already. Now it has to go beyond that.
I asked for that to happen tonight.
No,
I
your
sent
request-
a memo,
I didn't get.
and Laura
Yes,
sent
you
a memo
did.
to you.
Yes, you did.
We through the
Oh,
chair,
yes,
we
you said
absolutely
it.
did.
I
And
said
if I was
it.
allowed to read it on the record,
Okay,
you
wait.
would have heard it.
I'm not talking about tonight, I'm talking about last month when they came
Yes.
to my committee. So after it comes to health, it goes on to
No,
the next
Yes,
committee.
no,
Right.
I asked for a resolution
I
at the last meeting, and you said you would approve it.
Ma'am, Legislator Adenisia,
Yes.
Chairwoman.
Yes,
A resolution was provided to you by this administration, by the Health Department on Monday, so you could ratify to support the program
I
itself.
think this needs to go.
It was given to the Health Committee for its consideration. You can discuss it, you can try to amend it, you can go table it, you can go in executive session, but discuss it, please, just discuss it. You got all these people that
It
want to
was
discuss
supposed
it.
to go, it was supposed to go from my committee to physical, because now we're talking about
Had
a
to go-
building.
no, it had to
Right?
go
We're
both.
talking- Excuse me, I'm talking.
Two separate things.
It's two things, right?
There's a resolution for health, and there's a lease agreement
I
that's a
understand.
draft that's presented to physical services.
Right.
It's not on either of your agendas this evening.
But I think we need
Neither.
to talk about the building.
tried to, by asking.
Before it came back to health.
Sure,
That's
so
what
you can
has to happen.
you can discuss it, and you actually
Yes.
have physicals first, you're both tonight.
Right.
You had physical, now you have health.
But it wasn't on, and
You
that's,
had- In February, every single
sent
member
a
of this
memo.
legislator was invited to a briefing that was held on the first floor.
I wasn't.
know yes, everyone was.
I did
You can
not
talk
know
to your
that.
staff. Legislator Crowley and Laura were the only ones that showed up. The school administration was there, it was a public briefing. Then in the state of the county, both at a Senate vote, but also before the legislature, I brought it up again. Then our health department and the entire team here went before you and presented again in April, just last month. And then they made 2 tours so legislators could go and visit the Inter-Art Center so you could see it for yourself. We have emails from people saying how
Well, I
great it was.
asked, actually, on the record, I asked to go on the tour. I was not invited the first time you're on the tour. Right,
Well,
when they came,
they invited at that meeting, at the health meeting.
at the health meeting, I asked them and said I wasn't invited.
Well, at that meeting, that was,
Right.
look, the first tour that I
But you
took,
were
if
already
you guys
there,
are,
you
I'm
were
sorry
already
if
there,
it
and it was on
offended you.
Facebook. It was
That
all
was
over
be-
Facebook, yeah,
But
so.
no, if you're, I'm sorry that offended you, Chairwoman, that was
It didn't offend me,
between
but I was just
the
saying.
administration, between the county, which is the county executive, whether you like it or not, and the school administration. That was a tour between 2 administrations, because I've always said, we cannot do it on our own. I need your help. I need you guys to ask the tough questions.
Well, I'm not
Make it better.
opposed to it. This
But we
is
need
not,
the
I
school
don't want
board-
anyone.
Why didn't you
put it on-
We
asked you
Everybody
today to
insinuating
put it on
that
the-
I'm
districts
opposed to
do,
this.
and
Not
we need the
opposed to
town.
it.
They're
Let's
all on
talk.
board.
Right here,
That is not how we run business.
asking through the chair to follow the
That-
legislative manuals, absolutely.
You
You
can't-
have been
you-
doing
you
the
have-
things however you wanted to for years.
Legislator,
If I may,
I'm
I have my
wondering-
hands up way before
Okay.
that.
So,
Go ahead.
is it detrimental to the program if?
Yes. Holy
Yes,
Can I
speak, please? I've been listening to you rant and rave. I'm just asking a simple question. I am all for this. I think we probably should have talked about it tonight.
Ask the question.
But I'm wondering, is it detrimental to the program? And I spoke with the county executive offline about this. Is it detrimental to the program if we discussed it and passed it in June?
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
detrimental?
In the
That's all.
committee
So
or
let's
the
hold the
full?
special.
So that's what, so if you passed it in your June full meeting, no, I think that's good, but you're in May right now to get it through the committee to your full in June.
There's a lot to discuss
Parents need to
before
make,
June.
make decisions to plan this.
So we were expected to pass all this tonight.
We'll at least discuss it.
Yeah.
And
Discuss
and
it.
if you need more
That's what
time,
I'm trying to
you
understand.
have
If
the
I may-
ability to
if I-
maybe pass a special.
Through the
That's
chair.
on you, but at least.
My
need to-
understanding of all of the emails that have been passed back and forth from, I understand legislator Elner's point, the chairman of the physical, and the information that he was wanting, and then the response from the county executive, maybe I didn't read it clearly, but my understanding was that we were going to get all of those answers tonight. That's how it's always been done. We always bring people to the committee and ask it with full transparency. I just, again, I believe the committee members can make phone calls on their own and get information that they need, but as a whole,
Which
this
is
should
why,
be.
Nancy, next month is we do it, there just wasn't enough time to get everything.
Yeah, but we have time. There's not enough time for them to get their kids in school. So let's have the discussion now, please.
Somebody
Someone on
add
this
an
committee,
agenda.
Add it to your agenda right now.
Add
if I may please make a motion to reopen the meeting, if legislator
You
Russo
can
would make a
reopen.
motion.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to
It wasn't
reopen the
closed?
meeting.
The meeting
meeting
wasn't
is that
closed.
she's making
I
motions
don't think, I
now.
don't think they voted.
They didn't vote.
So if they did vote,
We did
so
vote. We
if I
voted
would,
to
I would
reopen the meeting.
appreciate if the chair, if a member of the committee could make a motion to reopen the meeting. We don't need to go into executive session.
That's fine.
Why don't we, okay, the meeting was adjourned. Is the camera running?
Yeah.
She just made a motion though. There's a
The meeting was
motion.
adjourned.
She can make a
Make a
motion.
motion to reopen the
She
meeting.
made a motion to reopen the meeting.
We can speak tonight, off the record. We can shut this off, and we can just speak.
Why
all in
can't
the
it,
room.
why does it have to be shut
I'm
off?
here, I got arrangements, so my 5-year-old has someone watching him,
Okay, good.
and I can
So
go
now-
home at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, good.
I will stay here as late as you need me to, because it is that important. Because I don't want children waiting on a bus more than another hour.
Neither do we.
And I don't want to be spending.
We don't
more-
want it either. But do you really think that building could be done in September? I don't.
It's, if you let them present, they have
You would
conditions.
know.
They absolutely have a plan. You just have to let them speak to you, and if you think it's like, for some reason, you don't want Kevin Byrne in the room, I will
No, we
leave.
want-
Just please let them speak and
We
answer your
want you-
questions.
It's nothing to do with you.
Well,
You
it certainly,
said-
Mr. Elner certainly seemed to
Has
think he
nothing
doesn't
to
want to
do-
talk to them in front of me. I don't care. I don't micromanage these people. They made their own recommendations based on the facilities that they looked at. I completely support them. I concur with their assessment, but they can speak intelligently all on their own. I mean, we have our new health administrator, Rita Rodriguez, we have Shannon here, we have Valerie, who's given her heart and soul to this. We've got moms and dads that care about this. They just
But you make it sound like we don't care about it. I just
You have
want to.
the health administrator here, let him
I'm
speak.
speaking.
You have the health
I'm speaking.
administrator here, let him speak.
I'm speaking right now.
Can we reopen
I
the
just
meeting?
want.
Reopen the meeting.
No misconception.
Robert's rules don't hold any water.
We all care about the children, okay? I don't want.
If you care,
anyone to
let
talk
them
about that.
speak.
Well, if you let them speak and present, if you guys get this done, if you can find a way to make it stronger, make it better, no one will thank you more
Should
than
have
me.
been open.
But we have a golden opportunity here to do something really special for these children and for these families, and there is a timeline here. To answer Legislator Sage's point, if you want to delay this a week, could we survive it? Sure. But I'm concerned if we're going to make sure that every individual legislator needs to have their own meeting with 6
No.
different department heads. Look, that's not fair to
No
your
one's saying
colleagues. It's not fair to you, Chairwoman
No one's
Agnesi.
saying that, but,
That's-
okay.
Well,
Can
look,
we-
I clearly said, everyone's here. They're all here, they want to answer. No one's hiding
Because
anything.
you invited him on Facebook after we
I
said
mean,
we
what
give him
on
next week.
what on earth are you talking about?
Look, we
What
have
on-
people here, so let's talk.
They were literally
okay?
copied
All right,
on the
Shannon.
memo responding to you. How can you do that demonstrably dishonest?
to reopen the meeting.
She's made a motion to
Okay,
reopen
we
the
get
meeting.
everybody here, let's have a
I'm
discussion.
just gonna do it
So you don't want to
You
have.
can't, you
Everybody
can't,
here?
it's
We're all
codified.
here.
It's codified.
So,
Tony,
Yeah.
it's codified.
Greg, in case you didn't get it, Legislator Elmer, here was my response to you, right there.
What needs to happen is you need to make a motion to rescind the previous motion to close the meeting, I believe, and then make a motion to reopen the meeting.
Why can't we have a public discussion?
Because it's not,
Yeah,
it's not
proceed.
been
If that's
noticed.
procedural, there you must be Mr. Robert's rules.
Under open meeting as
That would
well.
be so violating
If
open
this
meetings.
would constitute a meeting, and as far as like the streaming,
Not
the
been noticed.
procedure,
We have to do it.
yeah, if this is gonna be made part of the minutes, and it's gonna be part of the legislature's record, it would need to be part of the meeting, so you would have to rescind, reopen, and then bring it in as other business.
Who wants to
Make
make
the
that motion?
motion.
We have a motion on
I'm
the table.
sorry, I'm confused about Robert's rules.
Yeah, that's,
What you can do is call a special meeting right now.
Only 5 people have to sign on.
Call for a special meeting.
Right now, or the chair can do it, actually, right now.
What's the proper way to do it, council?
We're gonna talk about it in audit.
I mean, that's an option as well, I suppose.
We do
I
that.
think we should get the legislative
Should've just
clerk
been
in
talked
here.
about tonight.
Well,
Literally.
it wasn't.
Clerk?
Yeah, I'm just
Diane.
making everybody come out again.
I know, that was the point, that's why I tried to bring it on tonight.
Absolutely.
hold on, we're looking for the clerk.
I'm sorry. I would like to make sure that you mentioned I was trying to say things you didn't.
Chairman, did you not get, I'm not being rude.
No.
I did, because it says in here that we asked for it to be put on because of the time constraint, and also,
But I wanted
as
to.
And there
the,
was no letter
We
of
didn't get any
necessity.
time constraint from the
Yeah, there's no-
Okay, if we're gonna follow
I
the
didn't, that's
rules,
why I asked the
okay,
question.
which is
Wait,
why I'm saying I
but-
just want a meeting.
Well,
If
hold
we're
on.
gonna follow the rules say that a letter of necessity has to come from the elected official who sponsored this. So the letter of necessity should have come from the county executive. That's if we're gonna follow the rules.
You were given a week, over a week's notice.
and when it's convenient, we do put things on there for other
And I
things. I'm not
mentioned that I was
accusing you,
not gonna put it
Chairwoman, I'm
on
not
this one
saying
because
you.
I wanted to be fully prepared. I didn't go into that. And it's gonna be on June, which is what, 2 weeks?
No, I didn't say it could be.
And then
You
somebody.
said July.
And we know all who that is, in your office, reached out to all these parents. Because it was not on the agenda. It was not on the
That's not even
agenda.
true, I don't even talk to this man, what are you talking about?
I thought we were gonna discuss this at this meeting from the last one.
Council has something to say.
Can we now recognize council? Yes.
Through the chair, so the difficulty with having a special full right now, with no notice essentially, you would have to have a unanimous vote to suspend all of the notice rules and other rules
Suspend the rules.
in the legislative
So
manual.
just reopen the
And then you
meeting.
could do that,
And what's your
but alternatively, you can
Reopen the
just
meeting.
reopen the committee meeting as well.
Yes.
Reopen the meeting.
Reopen the meeting.
Make a motion, one person.
Laura made the motion already. It's on the floor.
I believe it's unanimous of the legislators that are present if you're voting to suspend.
For a special, it's 5.
If you're voting to suspend the rules under 24.
Just make a motion to accept and extend the meeting.
So Conrad, is that,
A motion to reopen is the most practical way to do this, if you want to address it.
Yeah, Laura's got one on the.
Motion, Laura?
What's being discussed?
What's
To
being
the chair,
discussed?
there would need to be a motion, a second, a vote, and then if that passes, I think
No,
we
it's
have.
2/3.
It's a motion, yes, it's a majority vote or 2/3 vote in this case. And if that passes, then it would go to other business, and then you would have to bring this matter on as other business through a motion and a second.
Conrad, is there any reason why I can't have another physical meeting early next week?
That would be a special.
We could do audit. We could go to.
Everybody's here. Just do it now.
Well, not everybody's here because Dan isn't here and Yankee's not
Paul
here.
left in a puff.
It doesn't matter how he left, he's not here. And yes,
I just, first of all, I do want to thank everybody for their support, because we know 5 weeks ago we were speaking together, and I know Valerie's worked really hard on this program. Hearing from each of you why you support it was the reason that we spent the last 4 weeks preparing the documents that we shared a week ago. And you know, we don't decide what committee we're gonna present to. We just asked to come back. You all told us to come back. So I understand that there is a lot of stake here that we all have in this program. And there are a lot of questions. There were certain things that were left off of our additional business that I think will answer Legislator Elner's questions intentionally, because there is some sensitive information in them. And so we want to be public with that, though. We want to say out loud to everybody, answering the questions, and then leaving it up to you all to decide if the sensitive information is something that we need to speak about privately. But we did want to speak publicly, and in being sensitive to the school district's needs and the parents' needs. They are placing children with Valerie right now in CPSE programs. So in that special education preschool model, they are placing them in programs right now, and those programs will get full. And parents who want to attend this specialized model that Valerie is initiating in Putnam County, they have put this as their first choice. They may get locked out of other programs because we're not moving forward. And so it's not that we need to
I
move
wish
forward
that
with
would
this
have been
location.
communicated.
Oh, but that's what we would have done tonight. We would have told you that.
Like, what is this? Did you
You just
read
been working
this?
on it for 4 weeks, and we've been having this 10 and 10.
Well,
All I wanted was information, so I can make informed decisions.
Right, and we were
And
permitted-
primarily about the building,
Right.
okay? That's where I am, the building.
And we are prepared to talk tonight about it, but the delay would be prohibitive to these families getting placed in the next adequate program for their children. And so I just wanted that to be clear, coming from the health department, not coming from somebody who is elected. I'm a parent here too. I just wanted you to know that maybe didn't come across in our request a week ago, because we didn't anticipate that we wouldn't be able to be here and share that information with you. And so as public information officer, as the person who does the communications, I can try to express that urgency next time we do send a memo up. I'm still learning some of this too. And so that's, my apologies, but I do feel that it's just so urgent. So even if we just get to talk through some of the things, and you don't approve the resolution, and you want to hear more, we're happy to come back, but I want parents who came tonight, because they didn't come because an elected official asked them to. Many of these parents came because they've been paying attention to what Valerie's been doing, and she told them that we made the request, and then she had to tell them that we weren't.
fine, don't apologize. That's fine, you don't have to apologize. So, okay, we could bring up for discussion. We're not going to approve it this evening. That is what everyone has to understand.
You
We're
have to
not,
reopen.
we can't approve it, because not everybody's here, okay, so.
Took all the red star.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a second.
Yes.
She made the
She
motion.
made the motion.
I second the motion to reopen the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Who's first?
You and Valerie want to?
Yeah.
Discuss the early learning center for health.
Mr.
yes.
Chair, now there needs to be a motion to bring it in as other business.
Okay, I make a motion to bring it in as other business.
Bring the resolution in, or?
No, the discussion, for a discussion. Do I have a second?
On the Early Learning Center?
Yes.
I'm just,
Yeah, what else? That's what we're talking about.
Second.
I think we have the same
All in
question.
favor? Aye. No, we're not approving it.
No, I know, I was just clarifying
Okay.
exactly
Make a
what you were
motion for
discussing.
discussion.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to us. Are you doing the thing?
Well, I don't think, our backup documentation, I don't think is available for viewing, but I can.
I basically already gave you guys the speech, and this is a great program. I know that a lot of you enjoyed, at least agreed with me last time, so I appreciate the time now. It is vital, like Shanna said. This program, as you all know, and some of you, like you mentioned, have children with special needs, it's so important. It really gives them an inclusive, higher education, better quality than what they're getting, and then they get to move on. And when they move to the school district, obviously they're not going to have hopefully as much difficulties. So this is the thing, and I know you want to get to the building, and I would be more than happy, instead of going through my whole spiel since you all listened to it before, if you guys would like, I could answer any question right along with Rion. If you guys want to just ask me questions, or would you like to move on?
Can I ask you questions?
Valerie, is it worth mentioning that the resolution that will not be seen tonight on what it addresses? Would you like me to?
Yeah.
Okay, so the request for tonight was originally a resolution in support of the program that Valerie spoke of, and ultimately we were asking that the legislature resolve that Putnam County can seek to establish a facility that is the Putnam County Early Learning Center. And so while I understand the location is also mentioned in this draft resolution, the whole rest of the resolution is really asking for the legislative support to allow us to seek to establish this facility. And so it wasn't even that the facility was definitely going to be a certain place, but it was that we want to seek to establish it. We felt like we got as far as we could go in the internal process.
I mean, you're going to get 9-0. Everyone supports this, so I mean, that's a.
But that was the
that's a no.
resolution that we, the health department, asked to bring tonight. And so I just wanted to say that publicly, that still stands, that we do really want there to be a resolution in support of us moving forward with this initiative, so that we don't delay. And I do think that the one piece in question, of course, is the location. And if there are other concerns, we would like to address them. And Bill Orr is here as well, and he has budget that has, also gone as far as it can go. Thank you. The budget that has also gone as far as it can go without further conversation.
Correct.
If I may.
Yes.
How many kids do you anticipate in September of '25?
I have.
So we have.
I have 12 children that are identified, special needs through CPSE, and then I have 30
Well, so
or
far,
20
this was going
UPK
off.
kids.
This Valerie's
Because
speaking
where
of
I'm
what was
going is,
going.
how many have identified, and in September, how many can you handle?
So Valerie's going off of planning of the contingency space.
Yes.
So those of you who went on the tour
Right.
of the location that was proposed, the upstairs space, that's what she's planning off of right now, because she doesn't have a space to plan off of, because we haven't gotten to that point yet.
Right.
So she's going off of a smaller model to start.
Right.
And so that's why it's
Right,
the 12
right,
and
and
20.
this ties into what I was saying is, okay, so you guys have made a decision without, well, it
Well,
sure
not a
sounds like
decision,
it,
it's
that
just-
you're going to one location. And what I'm saying here is, why aren't we discussing your scoring system and alternatives so we can get more kids into the program faster? Does anybody have a problem with that?
No, we would love more kids in the program faster. We do have the documents that were created after Valerie and some other folks did go on site visits last year and prior, end of 2023 and beginning of 2024. And we are happy to discuss those. Like I mentioned earlier, there is some sensitive information.
Such as?
I can vaguely say that it has to do with financials and also the health and well-being of children. And so, but we can speak about some of the sites that we saw if you want us to name the sites and tell you who went on those site visits. we can certainly share as much of that as possible right here and right now, and, you know, confidentially, we can certainly discuss some other information. And we'd like to hear input as well, and that was planned to
Well,
discuss.
I don't think we should discuss if there's an issue with one particular property. I would not like that to be discussed in public right now. Legislator
I
Montgomery?
would just suggest that you write a confidential memo, maybe just reviewing that process, no?
Process.
The process of the
Site
search.
visits, and, yeah, just.
Or at one point, we can go in executive session. Okay, that's fine. Yes.
Can I just say something, real briefly? No, it was brought up about the evaluation criteria and the spaces. I think that to partially answer Legislator Elmer's question, I'd like to also point out, you know, some of the efforts that were made leading up to the sites that were reviewed. The department contacted the economic development chairperson, Kathy Nagels, asked what sites might be available, and that's what led to the site visits with the previous acting commissioner of health and the review. But one of the most important things about evaluation criteria in the final analysis is not necessarily focusing on the facilities that were not selected. It's focusing on the facilities and the why was that facility selected. There's been, and I'll just tell you, Legislator Elmer, there's been overwhelming support by the school districts that saw the site, the county employees that saw the site, the service providers that would be providing services at the site, and the congruence, if you will, of services that are offered at that facility that may parlay into other benefits for the parents. So those are just some of my observations as I talked to the evaluation committee and reviewed their decision. I'm sure that could be provided to you more formally in a report that Legislator Montgomery mentioned. But I think if we focus more on all of the great things that the Intra-Arts building offers for this program, especially in its pilot phase, and the conversation doesn't need to end there from all of our previous discussions. That's where the conversation starts. The EI pre-K services that Valerie's talking to you about today, those services are starting, or hope to start, in this area of the Putnam County. But the conversation, the county executive would not let us stop the conversation there. Once the proof of concept is proven to work, I'm sure Valerie and all her, she will be looking at other facilities that make as much sense for those children who are spending those long distance times on the buses. And it always has been about the children, and I know that's important to the committee and to the legislature. So that's just a little piece I wanted to give from the procurement perspective and how the evaluation was reviewed by me. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Legislator Sage.
I mean, I have had the opportunity to, I've seen all three facilities that are in question.
Also, just, there were 5 that were originally visited. 2 of them didn't make the second round of discussions, but sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, I have seen them, and I mean, I understand what Legislator Elmer's concerns for the cost of the build out. Because I know that there may be some that are more ready to go now, and I think that's probably where his conversation was leading to, is what, and I think Commissioner Tully, well, Director Tully also discussed that, is what's the criteria, and I think that's really what we're interested to see. You know, because if we could save the taxpayer $1.5 million, I think that'd be huge. But if it's not worth it, then that's important too. So just to, you know, to calm everybody and to be diligent with the taxpayers' tax dollars as well. So.
I mean, has DPW toured any of these facilities?
Yes, sorry, through chair, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at, can the buses get in there? We looked at the space, we looked at how many classrooms, we looked at all those great things, you know, and how much work would it need, upkeep or, you know, renovations, all that other stuff. We did look at all that. We looked at who we would possibly be partnering with, depending on the building. You know, and it, you know, it was, and I know which building you're speaking of, and it was considered, yes. And then things came out that we need to talk privately about, but, which then removed it from the list.
And I'll add that we've sort of included DPW back into the conversation, so they've rejoined that conversation around the build-out. So Tom's been very good in terms of joining those conversations that we have on a weekly basis, because you know we understand that that's not exactly in our wheelhouse of expertise. So we wanted to make sure that you know we were getting some good information internally as well. So and those conversations continue.
Because I mean, how, if I may, you come with a single sheet of paper asking to authorize $1,538,000, and we have a lease, and the lease is fairly complex, and the lease says, well, if it costs more, our rent goes up. I need full interpretation, this is just me, I need full interpretation from the law department. Okay, we don't have a legislative attorney, so I don't have someone, because the law department is very busy, where I can say, hey, what's this? What's that? Are we on the hook for? What happens if they don't build it out in time? And they estimated at $130 a square foot. Commissioner Fieri, I'm putting you on the spot. Do you think this can be done for $130 a square foot?
Through the chair, I haven't seen it, so I really don't know what I haven't seen the plan.
Well, we haven't seen the plan either. We've just seen the space.
Sorry, that's okay. So number one, they can't do anything if it's just in conception. They need a resolution to move any further, so they're stuck right there. But also, here's the easy part. We have the funds. We just got done talking about throwing $5–10 million at other towns. So why can't we throw $1.5 million in invest in meaningful, lasting change for our kids and give the county back its best possible way, giving back to our children? We took away Camp Hurlick, but we're going to throw $5, $10, $30 million all over God's creation. They just need a resolution to continue with the concept and get this done.
Make a motion to accept the additional. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This saves us money in the long run.
Yes.
Did you just close the meeting?
No.
Yes, you're
They did that when I came in.
All right.
No, that was a motion to accept additional.
I did some financials on the building we're talking about.
Okay, good.
And that 1.5 million you're talking about will be absorbed. It's a 5-year lease, which we'll hand out once, if you accept it. And it will show that the monthly rent, it will show the 1.5 million in a 5-year lease built out, and there'll still be a savings.
Well, Bill, distill it down, how much per square foot?
When you say how much per square foot?
When you put, how much are we going to be paying per square foot when you put in the $1.5 million build out?
Okay.
That's the way we need to compare spaces.
That's for rent. You mean for rent?
Yeah.
It's $20 a square foot.
It's
Plus-
$15 a square foot
Yeah.
for the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how are we paying for the 1.5?
1.5.
Estimated $1.5 million build out.
65% of the build out.
1.5 million, 65% will be paid by the county.
Over what time period?
60 months.
5 years.
And that
So
is set as $16,250 a month, which can, like I said, if you take the sheet from me, it'll still be absorbed on an annual basis.
Right, and what I'm just asking you is to do the math, because I've been guilty of farmer math, I'd like to know is when you add those together,
Yeah.
how much per square foot are we paying for the space for the next 5 years?
Okay, that I can't tell you offhand.
But the first few months have a contingency plan where the county's only paying $4,000 a month.
But that's for
to use the
smaller space.
To use the smaller space, the $4,000 per month, so it just, I think it'll, so you get the full picture, that starting in August, the space would be available. the county for $4,000 a month until.
Right, and I'm just saying is, in my mind, when I'm making a comparison, 4,000 buys how many square feet, so how much dollars per square foot? Is this triple net? Are we responsible for the utilities? Are we responsible to put in smart boards? Are we responsible
We have
for
the
the IT?
Bill has the breakdown for all of that, you can go through.
Yeah, but this is the things that I wanted before we had this meeting, so all the parents would know that we're doing a fair and true evaluation. And how long is it really gonna take? Because unfortunately, we all know when we have construction, there's always delays. And lately, construction's been coming in way over estimates. And the only estimate we have is from an architect who's doing this to the owner of the building.
And Legislator Elner, if I may, if the committee or the legislature on another committee were we to present to that committee, would have asked us to look at another location that either was or wasn't on our list, even after seeing our strengths and challenges for those locations. Bill may have to also make a budget for that site with all of the information that has been provided for Inter-Arts. And so that's where we asked for the resolution to seek to establish a program, because if we do have to do a budget and all of the work we've done over the past few weeks on an additional site, we may not be prepared to come to your next committee with that information if we didn't know the next site that you wanted to discuss. And so that's the importance, I think, of what you're doing right now, which is speaking to us, and then if we have a chance to go through the 5 sites that Valerie sought to place this program initially, and if there are other ideas, then we have to kind of go back to the drawing board to present.
I mean, real simple, how quickly can we get into a site that can accommodate 100% of the children in September? That's where I'm coming from.
I wish we had that answer. If somebody else has that answer, it would be wonderful to discuss. I don't know, Rian, if you have.
Let's start here.
I would say, you know, we've sort of plotted this based on 40 students in the contingency space. So we know that by September, we can definitively make that happen, obviously with the blessing of this body.
Yeah, but what I keep on going back to this is you've come up with 40 students. What happens if we have 175 students who need this? We're not dealing with those 135 kids. We're going with a contingency. We're starting. And what I'm asking is, what's the maximum number of students, children that we can handle and handle in September? That's where I'm coming from. And this resolution you have specifically locks us into one location.
It can be modified.
I have no problem with the resolution. I have a problem locking it to one location at this time.
I think realistically, I don't think that could be done in September. There's no way.
Well, there's a space
3 months.
with 40 students.
I understand, so you would start that, now what happens to the, so say it would be finished, say November, December. What about that waiting list? Are they able to leave the facility that they're in and then come there?
Yes.
They would?
Yeah, they
So
are
they would do a
absolutely
half
allowed
year
to do that.
wherever they are and then just come over
Yes.
there? Okay,
Yes, they are.
because you're gonna have a list of
Correct.
people, you know,
Yep.
right? And they have to be
They can
somewhere.
change it any time.
Okay. Legislator Montgomery had her hand up first, sorry.
I'd like to ask a committee member to make a motion to remove paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that where the
Where is
address
that? Where
No,
is address?
6.
What does it say?
It says the address of the location, if that is the component of
Okay.
contention with this, let's just remove the address. What I think everybody's wanting here is just a resolution that states we want this to happen, we approve the initiative and.
Commitment, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but they do need to start, so now they're gonna be starting there though, for the 40 students, then what happens, you know?
That's up to physical and
This leaves
this
us
body.
open to find other locations
No,
to
I
use
understand.
as well.
I may.
I'm just saying time-wise,
We obviously, the support would be very meaningful, and we will still need a space in the time that I mentioned before, that urgency exists for the schools, which is why the contingency plan is important. But I do think if we can tonight speak about the other locations, even if it has to be done in an executive, I think it would save us a lot of time and potentially discord if we could speak openly together about the locations. Because it may not change hearts and minds, but it might. And so I think it's worth at least.
No, I think so too. Yes.
Conrad, would you be so kind as to take a look at this draft resolution and make sure that any language tying us to a specific address is removed?
Through the chair, I do believe we have someone from law here who has actually worked on this, Will Siegel. He would be able to speak to this better than I would.
Thank you.
I just want to ask a question about numbers. So the contingency space at the Inter-Art Center on the upstairs, that will be enough room for, you said 40 students?
12 of yours.
12 would be special needs, and the rest are UPK from Carmel Central School District.
Okay, so that's a total students of 40 students.
Total it would be 40, but it's 12 special needs, and then the rest are Carmel UPK students
So in the base,
for the inclusion.
if they go down the ground floor, once that's built out, what is the student load of?
When they go downstairs?
Yeah.
There would be, I would be able to have, between special needs and UPK, I would be able to hold about 100 kids.
About 100 kids?
Yeah.
40 of ours.
40 of ours.
Currently, I'm sorry.
We have 115 currently.
Okay, 115.
In center-based program, and 40 could go to our program.
Okay. You can accommodate 40. All right. Excuse me? Yeah.
Only 12 of the kids will be special needs.
Right now, that's the referrals I got, yes.
Okay, is that simply because there's only 12 families who have applied?
Yeah.
Because overwhelmingly, from what you're telling me, is we're having kids who do not have disabilities, we're accommodating more of them than the special needs kids. I'm gonna be right up front.
That's the plan.
I wanna see the special needs kids get accommodated first.
Yes, but that would be inclusion, right? So we would want the UPK students in there with the special needs students.
But if there are more special needs kids, wouldn't they be afforded priority?
No, the ratio is important for the
Yes.
model.
Okay, please elaborate on that.
Valerie, if you could elaborate on the ratio.
Yeah,
and
so
why
there's,
this model
so
works.
for the majority, you could only have 18 kids in a classroom right? So if we were thinking of 5 to 6 special needs, and the rest would be UPK. So it's not 50-50, it's just below that.
Is that New York State standards?
That's what they're recommending, yes.
Sure.
Didn't you hand us a pamphlet, which I think I left home?
Yes.
Little blue thing with all this in there?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was reviewed at the meeting.
Can I ask that just to the chair?
Yes.
I just want to ask.
Yes.
So I'm just talking about the model and the students. So I'm just thinking back to my kids' classrooms when they were in elementary school, just 1,000 years ago. So they have like a first grade classroom, and a certain percentage of those kids would be special needs, and they're all integrated. All students are integrated together, and they have a special needs teacher and
Yes.
a
Regular.
See it? Yeah, I don't want to say that.
Yeah, I know.
Because they're all
But
kids.
that's what they, yeah.
Okay, I'm just building that in my head.
Yep.
Thank you.
And that's what we'll have, plus aides in the classroom.
Yeah, and so to Legislator Elner's question, he was talking about he wanted more special needs kids, but I think the point is to integrate all the children.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's not to have a stigma attached to
Correct.
a child.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions?
Did you make a decision about revising the?
Yeah, we spoke,
Sorry.
Waiting for
maybe
Mr.
stepped
Siegel.
out. Mrs. Siegel's gonna.
Okay.
Well, I think amending the resolution. With regards to amending the resolution, we certainly can engage in that by withdrawing the provision that the legislature finds to be appropriate to withdraw. And we can engage that process forthwith.
Well, I think it's a little premature, though, to take, I mean, we're not passing this tonight anyway. This is on for discussion, right? We're not, why are you laughing?
well, through the chair, because in conception, for them to move forward, they need this to do it.
If you
So
take the
if you-
address out, everybody, it just says
Yeah,
we're in support of
but
this.
also, the other thing is, I think that somebody should make a motion just to clear out, to clear up maybe some of the questions that they might have to
Well,
move.
that's what we want to do, but
Well,
we
move
need to
to
go into
executive.
executive session for that.
So
That's
that
what
may
I'm saying.
clear up
Yeah.
removing the
Right.
location,
That's what
so,
I'm saying.
and everybody's here, so why don't we take that
That's what I'm saying.
opportunity to do that before we amend anything? I'm suggesting
That's
it.
what I'm saying, it's premature to.
Yeah,
right,
can we,
that's what I
so
mean.
if we have to pass this and it's time sensitive, would you be willing to?
Pass it tonight?
No, to hear them in executive session
Oh, yeah,
and then,
yes.
and then,
I
and
think we
then
have to go into executive session.
possibly
There's a lot
pass
of people
it?
here, they're gonna have to, you know, when we come
It's
back,
okay.
and that's, yeah.
You're doing it now.
Kevin said he's good.
I need to make a motion.
Yeah.
I make a motion.
Thank you.
Make a motion to go in executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Chair, appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
A lot. I wasn't laughing at you, I'm laughing just because of the time, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you
I make a motion to come out of executive session, no action was taken, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we had a discussion, which was very productive, and I think we're going to move this to, I'm gonna let you
Audit?
bring this to audit,
So it can happen.
okay? So Legislative Stage will put it on for audit on Thursday, in 2 days. So
The
2
resolution.
days it is? What?
2 days is audit.
Do you need the financials now?
We need you to come back.
Or do you want them now? I'll come back.
Just for clarification, would that include the law department's request as well?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. All, is it gonna include all the resolutions that they need?
Well, what has to be approved? It's time sensitive.
What's time
What do we
sensitive?
need?
Which
What do we need to
council?
approve on Thursday?
All of it?
All of it.
So that Valerie can complete her state application, so that
Which is
parents can know that the
Lease,
program is intended to
resolution.
move forward.
Okay.
That's gonna, through the chair,
Yes.
sorry. So that would include the 37-page lease?
It's there's two, there's a short term and a long term.
Yeah.
There's resolutions to go with both of those.
The financials?
Yeah, I'm right here. You
The
want them right now?
financials-
Discuss that first.
We have to discuss that first, yeah.
And the resolution. So what needs to be passed specifically is the resolution, making our commitment, and then a lease agreement.
We can do that at a later date. We could do that even the following week.
At the full?
Right. No,
Or
it would
when
have to
is
be
your-
after, it would have to be after the fall then.
And then it would,
Then this would be-
then the
yeah,
lease
no,
agreement
then
wouldn't be
has
signed
to get
or
through the full.
completed
Yeah.
until July. So
Yeah.
that's,
Okay,
Right, we need the
Problematic.
full in June
What is
to.
Yeah.
time sensitive?
so this is all gonna happen in audit.
And-
Yeah.
Can't you pass this one tonight?
Shannon,
That's-
if you would be so kind, could you just outline to us what is time sensitive and when does it have to be addressed by? So we know everything,
Yes.
because like I said, that was one, that we can now say, 'cause it was, that's one of the things that was not brought forward, that there are milestones that have to be hit and quickly.
Yes, yes. Would you like us to put that in an email or state it now?
Please put it in an
Okay.
email, and actually for everybody,
No,
if you,
just, if you could just state it
Sure.
now.
state it now, do both, please.
Valerie, correct me if I'm wrong. The application for the state has to include a location. And so Valerie has to complete that application as soon as possible.
That's the one you have
She
tonight.
has,
Can you be a
there's
little?
not a deadline, right, Valerie?
That's-
It's on a kind of like a rolling basis, so she needs the state's approval to move forward with the plan.
But it's definitely,
Before
yes.
July
but-
full.
but- Oh, yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
in June.
It has to be we have to codify it at the June full.
Yes.
All of these leases.
Yeah, it really should.
All of these resolutions have to be done by the June
You
full.
said
All of these we're
should
talking
or
two.
has to be?
Two
The-
leases
and the
and 3
resolution.
Yes.
resolutions.
They have to be.
There's one
So there.
resolution for each lease and then our general resolution. So all of it together,
Like
June.
June 1st, 10th, 15th.
Yeah, well, it can't be the first.
That's what
Gotta
I'm
go
saying,
full.
what's the date?
the full
No, no,
level
what's
year.
the date that
So-
you require it, is what I'm asking.
June
We based
15th.
everything off of that,
I think it's June 15th,
that you have to have your application
Yes.
complete.
yes.
So she requires
So
it
she
before
needs a
then.
lease
By the
agreement.
June
Oh, it should
full.
have went to rules. The lease should have went to rules.
There's no more rules, there's no more, the last
No,
committee
I know.
of the,
Is audit.
Is
is
audit.
audit. And so that's why we're trying to catch it before it goes to
Yeah.
the full. So
And you can
the
do this one
audit is
tonight.
kind of the catch-all for things that need to go through. So we just do this all again.
So, okay, no, because we need to talk to Dan also. We all have to go over the lease, obviously.
But that's separate,
We can't
that's
do
for
that.
audit. That's, the lease is audit.
We're doing
This
all-
one,
we're
the
gonna
one
do it
you
all.
have tonight
Please, Ken.
is just provisionary. You could do this one tonight and then go over it the full.
Yeah, but I'm more comfortable doing it on Thursday because like I said, 2 legislators are missing. They left. They didn't realize we were gonna be doing this tonight.
Well,
So
it's your committee.
2 more days, no, it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, it's your
It's 2 more days.
committee.
I know it's my committee, but 2 more days is not gonna matter. I feel that we should wait to audit. And if they wanna vote no, they can vote no. If they wanna vote yes, you know what I'm saying? Give them the opportunity. It's not gonna matter, 2 days is not gonna matter.
I don't care.
Yes, you do.
No, I just figured through the chair, I do because I think this one is more appropriate for health.
I know, but it's 2 more days.
I just was saying it was more appropriate for health.
get it.
That's why it's on the health agenda.
Mhm.
And then the other ones are appropriate for audit because they're financial and they're a lease.
Mhm.
They can go from physical to audit. It does make sense. That's all I was saying.
Because there's no more meetings after this, and then we have the June
If we
full.
want transparency about next steps as well, and this is in Bill's, best budget estimates that he has. We did not share that prior to this meeting because we wanted to make sure that we could speak about some of the sensitive issues. So that would have to be shared with you all prior to Thursday when he
Well,
spoke of.
Bill says he's got financials, so.
Right, so I just want to make sure that we make the appropriate request for additional backup info to be added to our original request to be on committee. So I just want to make sure I do that the right way, so you all can let me know later how to make sure that Bill's stuff gets accepted, so you can view it for Thursday's audit meeting.
I may just ask Bill now what he's calculating the cost.
I don't think he has it.
I think he said he did. Hey, Bill, did you?
Yeah, I have something, Bill.
I'm sorry, Amy.
I'm sorry, Amy.
Bill, did you calculate how much per square foot this is gonna cost?
Can I?
Keep asking me that question.
Can I make a?
I'm in physical. That's
Can
what
I
it's about.
make an observation? Since we haven't approved a building, wouldn't the financials still be confidential?
Tell me what the numbers are.
Interesting.
I mean, if we disclose this in public and.
Well, it's on the lease. I mean, it's on the,
The lease is confidential until it's approved. This is confidential. So you can send it to us in a confidential email.
Conrad, is that correct?
That is correct. You have to send it to him in an email
It
anyway.
can't be announced.
Oh,
Yes.
you want
It
to
can't be,
email?
it can't be now, yeah,
We'll add it in there though.
We'll add it.
yeah.
Okay. We'll have a lot of additional.
It's gonna be around
Do you
32,
have a
30,
question?
32 or 33 per square foot, but just visual.
Like this age.
I mean, I don't have a question, but I just wondered if we go through the financials tonight before audit so that you don't have to come back, but I guess it's gonna have to come back anyway, so.
Well, you probably
I mean, if we
want,
can't discuss financials because it's confidential, I don't know how we can do
but
that.
you probably want
I
a
don't know.
budgetary amendment to fund this too, right? Because I don't have a budgetary amendment set up. I just have,
I believe once the financials are approved and we've settled on a building, then we can show the financials.
So you don't need a budgetary
She
amendment.
doesn't need a budgetary amendment to do what she needs to do, as long as the support
Okay.
is there, the budgetary can come after,
Okay. Is that,
if you're all comfortable with that.
But you do want to know.
I want it all done now, so
Yeah, when
I'm
would you need the
comfortable
budgetary by?
disclosing everything, but I just
do it all at
want you to
once.
be
I
protected.
really don't want it in piecemeal. I think
Yeah.
it should come together.
Yeah.
So should that be inclusive of the personnel request associated with the facility as well?
Oh, see, now we're coming into a lot of different stuff. That would probably have to go to personnel.
Well, that one, and again, we anticipated that that would be a month later, because that doesn't hold up her process to get state approval.
Okay.
Right, so that's,
So that could go.
we anticipated that that could go on
Yeah, it's
to
just
the
one
next
position.
personnel
Okay, so
committee meeting.
that could go too. Okay. Yeah.
Bill, the budgetary amendment is going to be no fiscal impact, right? The
correct?
way you
It's
presented
good.
it, yeah.
It'll be, no fiscal impact.
Yay.
Even negative if you wanted it. We'll do that
Yeah.
right away.
So you'll put it on the agenda then for audit?
That's gonna have to be for other business because we have, the agenda for audit has already gone out.
Yeah, other business.
So we'll have to accept,
Under
several.
necessity, saying that you need it by June 15th, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it, and that needs to come from
county executive.
the county executive.
Thank you.
I'm sure he has that all ready to go. It's not gonna be a problem. Okay, anybody else? Any other comments, questions? Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Wait,
Do I have a
you have to
second?
make a motion to
Wait,
table.
Tony, public comment.
I'm sorry, wait, don't leave.
Justin, you never finished your motion to table it to audit. So-
Oh, I didn't? Okay, I'll do that.
Well, is it a table or is it moving it? Conrad, is it a
Conrad, do I
table
have-
it
Wasn't
or
on the
moving it to
agenda.
audit?
Oh, you accepted on business.
That's right.
Moving it? Okay, so
I
you're
have to
moving.
move it?
Yeah, to
Okay,
audit.
make a motion to move to audit, move this agenda item to audit. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And just so the public knows, the audit meeting is on Thursday. So it's
This Thursday.
this Thursday.
2 days away.
2 days, we're getting it done.
Okay, 2 days, get her done. Okay. Public comment, yes. Can you just state your name?
Hi, Megan Cedar Williams, Lake Carmel. I'm a member of Carmel Central School District Special Education Parent Teachers Organization. We're very active. We just started about 3 years ago. We've already made a lot of gains within our district. UPK was one of the things that I started pushing within Carmel Central School District in general with the grant, bringing it forward time after time after time again.
Thank you.
It was a baby and a huge undertaking for me. I had to get people on my side to look at voting that way. We did a lot of groundwork to try and get this. So when I see things like this, I get very emotional. I get so emotional because day after day, I have parents in my emails. I have parents in my face. They come to me, they see me, they know who I am. I talk to them all the time about the services and the lack of services that their children get, that they need in order to function, okay? We're not talking about excelling. We're not talking about going to college. We're talking about them just being able to get out the door and go to their school or their program. If you do not live this life, you do not understand what it's like. When we speak about things like how many kids are within a program and whatnot, you also have to understand that even though UPK may be available to our students after September, if you do not pass this with a quickness, what happens is you take those children out of a service that they are getting used to, and you cause them more detriment. I understand that there are people who have stated that they have children with autism. I have children with autism. I am an autistic adult. I can speak to firsthand how that distortion, not having a rigid set schedule, affects you. You will throw these kids into a situation where parents will not get their children to go on the buses because you have taken them away from their caretakers, from their therapists, from their interventionists who they begin to trust. For you, it's something that you're able to grasp. For us, it's not, especially at a certain age. You are speaking about a different functionality, a different way of our brains processing. It is integral for everybody to understand that for our children to even be able to begin to be on the same realm of their peers. By 5 years old, they need these services. They need huge services. There are reasons why this PTO was put together, because we've had to fight and fight hard. How many parents have came to me because we've learned through the tears of our own selves and our own children and what we should have had, the shame that gets attached to that. And you guys can change that. And you can change it not only for Carmel Central School District, you can change it for the county. Not to mention, you can create a revenue cycle that could ease the tax burden, which you guys were just so eloquently speaking about. You could look great to your voters, and you could stand on this as something that you've done to make effective change. Anybody who dismisses the most vulnerable people in our society are not people I would want to be associated with or know. There is no reason whatsoever for any of you to have ever questioned the motives of the people who came into this room to put together a program. I don't care where something is housed. I care that it's accessible and it's there for the children and the families that need it, and that I don't have another heartbroken family, another child who is in despair because we did not do or get services that they should have. And it is disgusting and deplorable that you can go to Westchester and have these services easily because they have more money in their pockets, and that families are trying to figure out how they can afford just to go 25 minutes away in order to get those services for their kids. It's disgusting. Also, look into a braided funding program if you want some extra money. You're going to audit, look at the braided funding program. With that all being said, I would just say thank you for taking it underneath advisement and looking into it. If at any point in time anybody ever wants to come to an event, if anybody ever has any questions, I am more than accessible. I will answer questions. I will tell you what it's like. I deal with parents non-stop. Collaboration is the only way that we make progress. We work directly with the school district. There is a chair sitting next to me here tonight who I've worked with relentlessly. She sat on my kids, and I've helped her with other things. You cannot do this without teamwork. You cannot do this by yourself. And dismissing these people who have came in here pure of heart with intentions of nothing but goodness is disgusting if you look at it for any other reason to rip it down. Thank you.
Yes, please come up. Good evening. Could you
Good
state your name?
evening. My name is Bakar Singh. I'm with Community-Based Services, CBS. We've been operating since 1981. We've been supporting people with disabilities from early age all the way to 80, 85. You know, you can imagine how people with disabilities early on, their life expectancy wasn't even in the 20s or 30s or 40s. And today people are living full lives. And that's not happening because, you know, when we look at the dollars and cents and we're looking at, you know, whether this building is right or not, we didn't went out to sought for any kind of a property management or anything like that. Just want to put that on the record, okay? This is our mission. This is what we do, okay? People with disabilities, people with this. And if you were came to our 1-year anniversary for Inter-Arts program that we just created. This is one of our newest there. There was one individual who had autism, and he played piano, okay? And if you were have to watch that gentleman, okay? And he was, because he is autistic, and because he had the urge to get up quickly on there, but his fingers were literally on it and be able to play that piano that most pianists out there that he will compete against, okay? That doesn't happen because we look at simply as a building. You really have to look at the expertise and experience that bring it. We're here, only reason is because we saw that as a mission, okay? We saw that it was an opportunity to collaborate with the county and all the people that Putnam County, okay? All those families and all that. That's the only reason, okay? We have no reason. If you want to go somewhere else, please, okay? That's not what we're here for, okay? We're here only reason because we saw this is a truly opportunity to offer people all those things that are, when you look at the art and music and all that people at the earliest possible age. When you expose all that to people, that's where people flourish. That doesn't happen just because that somebody looked at it with some dollars and figures and how comparing and that doesn't happen that way, okay? With due respect, you really need those experts. You need to offer that people that. And I humbly request that you look at it, all those things, okay? All those gamuts of that is available to the people. And when you offer that, that's where people flourish. That's what that individual with autism, that nobody else, if you just go look at them there, you're going to say, oh yeah, that person doesn't even have any enough IQ out there to be able to do it. But when you give that opportunity, they flourish. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Yes, come on up, please.
Hi, my name's Katie Anatelli. I'm from Garrison, Putnam County. My son, he's 3 years old. He is level 3 on the autism spectrum, which is the most severe. And I have been really constantly wondering where he's going to go for preschool. We've been looking at programs, but you know, for him, I know we've talked about long bus rides and everything. I can't imagine him sitting in a bus with strangers for any amount of time, to be honest with you. It's dangerous. His behavior may get worse if he's put under stress like that. And I just want to reiterate, to echo what others have already said, the younger they are, that they have community rallied around them, that they have education tailored to them, that they're getting the services they need. It's not just, it matters where they are, it matters who they're around, it matters. This all contributes to their life. And there's kids right now that, you know, I understand like maybe this came up a little bit late and we didn't have all the information available. And I know you do have the responsibility of looking at the numbers and figuring those things out. I understand that. But just to really make everyone understand the urgency, there are kids right now whose lives could potentially be affected forever based on what you guys do. So I know it might not sound like, it might sound crazy, but that's just how these kids are. They're wired a different way. And I really, it's not just my kid, I think that they all deserve the best chance that we can give them. Truly, the education they get now can make a difference between whether they're able to be independent when they're older. So it is urgent, it is important. There's a group of kids right now that need you to really try to put this forward. So whatever you guys are able to do to make it happen, I would truly, as a parent, coming from my heart, I really would appreciate that. So thank you, and then thank you for hearing us out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want everyone to be aware of that. I'm fully supportive. I think we all are fully supportive of this
100%
program.
100% information, sensitive information needed to come
Yes.
out, and now that it's been given, I think we're pretty much all
I would
systems go.
never be against any programs for children. It's not what it was about tonight, and I don't want
Yes.
anyone to feel that it was, you know, because we were questioning the program. That wasn't what it was about. Okay, could you state your name, please?
Still Brett, Yaris, still am. And I still live in Carmel Hamlet. But no, first of all, legislator Adincio, I would also, I can stipulate to what you just said, because I was there at the last health meeting that I attended, and so all 9 of you support this. And tonight we know all 9 of you, after all the discussion, are going to move this forward, which is what should happen, and I thank every one of you, for doing that. And you've heard from parents. Last time at the health meeting, we didn't hear from a ton of parents, but we've heard from a lot of them. And what you heard a lot tonight was pain, right? You saw the last time I spoke how emotional I got, and I'm just a service provider in special ed, right? But you heard tonight,
Very important.
Well, thank you. But you heard tonight, what these parents are afraid of, the fear, the anxiety. It's not just anger that you guys are hearing, it's fear and anxiety. And that's something they're going to live with, and they know this, I'm not speaking out of school, they're going to live with this every day, right, for the rest of their lives. And so the only thing I would say tonight, I was here last week and I commended all of you for how you conducted yourselves and the decorum that you showed. Tonight, we moved backwards. And what I would say is that the fracture that exists in this county government is only adding to the anxiety and the fear of real people's lives. And I'm not putting that on any one person, I'm not going to do that, right? Everyone has a hand to play in that. But when this county government is as fractured as it is, and we see that play out in real time, parents have to come up and they have to talk about even more afraid, because these are our decision makers. These are the people they rely on to get things done. And if this is how that looks, how could you not be more afraid than when you were when you first walked in that room? So I would ask you to go back to how we were last week, to figure that out, what we can do to move forward together and work together, because that's the only way we can alleviate just a little bit of the fear and anxiety that exists for these families. But I want to end on a positive note and just say thank you that this is going to move forward. I expect it'll get a 9-0 vote, which would be fantastic. And hopefully we don't have to worry about this. And everyone who's involved can get their job done. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? You sure? Nobody wants to come up? We still have
Thank you,
time.
I'm sorry if I was loud before.
It's a quarter to 10, we have another hour that we can stay here.
Oh, my God.
We can stay till 11.
I did.
Okay, nobody else? Okay, I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
The second time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.